like, well, that's good, baby. You spread your wings, realizing what God wants you to do. And my father like, you got to be the dumbest son of a bitch in the world. I can't believe you came from my ball sack. $65,000 a year. Me and your mama combined only make 80. You dumb mother. I mean, going off. Like, me and my pops actually kind of fell out.
You know, old school black fathers, old school mindset. They came up working. They know how hard it is.
Hands knuckles black. Hands look like he worked at the steel mill, like he was dipping them in the lava. So, you know, he pissed. My hair's manicured.
He's super cool and he know kung fu.
I'm clean. I work on computers.
Drives a $5,000 car and wears a $100 suit.
He like, I'm out here getting lung poisoning from inhaling all these steel mill fumes and touching people's mail. I'm like, look at my hands. I can't even pick up a fork and knife. Your mama got to cut my food for me. And you want to quit to do some damn comedy. He hell.
Chicago Famous, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
What's up, good people? You're listening to I Said What I Said with Tucson Warner and Herb Howard. You'll never breed a warrior.
Warriors, come out to play.
Shh, you hear that? And that's what's happening at every angle. They're creating paradigms where we can only raise feminine men. Whether they're homosexual or not, they feminine as shit.
Because all masculinity is toxic.
All masculinity is toxic in a war-torn society where the dominant society is saying to your ass, we don't never want no warriors.
You bastards.
Any book you've ever read, you can read the Bible, goddammit. When they go and they destroy some shit, they kill all the boy babies.
For sure.
I don't even want you growing up to think you're gonna do some shit to me.
Animals do the same thing. If I come over here and I take over this village now or whatever, like this gonna be my pride. First thing I'm doing, killing the male boys, like killing the male babies.
Don't you even grow up with that?
Don't you even think about it. Okay?
Bitch.
Right. You ain't my dad, you damn right I ain't your daddy. Fuck your fort, little nigga.
Fuck your fort.
You're not my dad.
Oh man, I laugh at this shit in public.
That's real.
I laugh at this stuff in public.
That's real though, right? Tucson Warner and Herb Howard live on What's in It for the Black People Media, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Mark your calendar for What's in It for the Black People Media Election Night Special on Tuesday, November 3rd.
Two old white men. Tighten it out.
A new political party in Illinois? Could it be happening?
We'll be starting at 7 p.m. and we'll be going till midnight. So I'll try not to fall asleep.
What are you going to be doing on Tuesday, November 3rd? Tune in to What's in It for the Black People for the blackest, most in-depth election coverage that you gonna find.
Boys, step aside. The Radio Rookie is in the building. The Book of Dawn, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality Black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe Black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of Black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
Fun guy.
What's tomorrow?
Fun guy, what's up, baby?
What it do, baby?
Yeah, you already know.
You know what I'm saying? So I'll be telling you.
What's going on, Chicago? What's in it for the Black People Media presents?
I want to go higher. Oh, my God.
Call your sons, call your daughters, call your friends, call your neighbors.
The big Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. with Eugene McIntosh and Terrence Tomlin. We got what you need right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Joining Chicago Famous
Tony Scott, was there still that pushback against comedians becoming radio personalities, or was it accepted around that time?
In Chicago, we was used to having some funny on the radio in the morning, so.
I make you laugh. I'm here to fucking amuse you.
Man, I remember one time I was at a Bulls game, and I'm at the little concession stand. This dude in front of me, this little OG dude turned around like, yeah, you that
Special thanks to Love McPherson.
And when you talk about object sex, you and objectifying that woman, you glorify pieces of her. And let me tell you something. If you think that doesn't matter, it does. And I'm going to tell you why it matters. I looked at a video and I was looking at these young boys, these teenagers, and they were like, do you like black women or white women? I like white women. I like white women. And first I felt some kind of way. Then you know what happened to me? I started listening to them. Said, why did you like the white women? Because they'll do anything for you. Yeah, the white hoes.
Bitch, you is a hoe. Bitch, you is a hoe.
And I thought pornography has elevated what the white woman will do for you, the objectifying of her. And this is why we don't realize, even in our spaces, the black man is shut down because he doesn't know the power of his seed like the white man knows the power of his seed.
Oh, look, just like milk.
He doesn't realize that you sit up there coming into my neighborhood, objectifying my white women because you say they do it better than your women is a problem. They don't do it to them, but they won't bring that out, and they will not allow you to do that to their women.
I said what I said. Herb and 2, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Your voice will be heard.
Your vote is precious, almost sacred. It is the most powerful non-violent tool we have to create a more perfect union.
Change will happen.
And so all men of goodwill will go to the polls on November the 3rd. And I hope we will have a great day in our nation so that when we wake up on the 4th of November, we will know that America has made the right decision.
Mark your calendars for What's in It for the Black People Media special election night coverage. This is the nation's only culturally specific digital platform that respects the black community's diverse viewpoints. We're here for you. The only place to stay on top of 2020 election night coverage is on the Maze Jackson page on Facebook and Maze Jackson on YouTube. It all starts Tuesday night at 7.
You know who to vote for. I'm just asking you to vote.
WIFTBPM. Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio.
The problem in the past has been the man turning us against one another.
Take a journey with Salim.
Come with me into Muwakkil's world.
We have been unable to see the truth because we have been fighting for 10 square feet of ground.
It's Muwakkil's world.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Here's Salim.
And we're back. After a long break, we're back. But we are back and we are ready to go. Brother Bill Griggs, Sister Emma Young, we in it. Bill, you were saying.
I don't know. You better give me some kind of lead-in, man. Are you crazy? No, I think I was trying to get to the whole point of dealing with human psychology and what we operate out of. And what we operate out of is not rational thought. Now, that's not to put anybody down. It's just that we operate out of our emotional fears, okay, and our needs. You know, when you don't get love as a kid, you function completely differently than somebody who did get love as a kid, okay? And I think a lot of the harmful things that have been done to us that we've suffered through have left us kind of fragmented.
Scarred.
Oh, absolutely. Tremendously scarred. Mm-hmm. And so I think some of that is what we're seeing with people supporting Trump, you know.
Okay.
And the other thing is the lane thing, staying in your lane. We got a whole, you know, all we ever talk about is him and us, them and us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got a range of issues that affect us, you know, the climate, okay, This is the same.
We act as if we're not.
We ain't got
affected.
nothing to do with that. Right. Because that's that mentality we have that says that that's white folks' business or whatever.
Absolutely right, bro.
You know, and that's just, you know, we got to get beyond that, man, because it's our planet too. We need clean air. We need clean water.
There are some black people who are interested in that, but they tend to be people who have more of an economic state, right?
Yeah, well, it goes back to, on a certain level, it goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know, so as a group, you know, we tend to be dealing with food.
Survival.
But what we don't understand is that we can't survive if the planet doesn't.
I think we do understand that.
Well, you just said yourself though that you know it's usually the higher socioeconomic groups
act on it, but I think they understand it. It doesn't mean this.
It doesn't because it can't break through all that stuff that they're struggling with. Right. You know,
you got to survive.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at what's happening now, we got the West Coast on fire, unprecedented fires.
True.
Okay, and you got the East Coast being hit with hurricanes, unprecedented. Okay, flying, if you fly anywhere, you're gonna run into all kinds of turbulence you didn't used to get, and the polar caps are melting. That's serious, as is clean water, clean air, all that stuff affects us.
I think the question though is, Bill, is do you link that directly to economic activity, and what activity is the most efficient to help mitigate that?
Carbon emissions. I mean, that's and see, that's the other thing. I forget, Don Meacham, I think his name is, the presidential historian, said that we are now entering the age of the end of reason. You know, and that's what we're dealing with this Trumpian thing, that science doesn't matter. Just whatever I pull out my behind is what's happening, and people are buying that. But you know, science says you got to cut your carbon emissions, which is what Obama was trying to do.
There's much to that. I mean, part of this ideology I was talking about is very anti-science.
Yeah,
or especially anti-scientist.
Right.
Scientism. Anti-scientism. That is using science to explain natural phenomena, relying totally on science to explain natural phenomena. There are other things at work, and science is incomplete in describing human activity. And these folks, that's why really one of the reasons why Trump is so skeptical of science. A lot of folks don't realize that there's an ideology behind this, man. That's why Bolsonaro in Brazil is skeptical of science. All of these cats, all of these identitarians have a serious skepticism of scientism. Well, and that's a part of the anti-credentialist thing. That's why Trump is talking about firing Fauci after he's reelected.
Right.
And those kinds of things. They are skeptical of science as an explanation.
Well, there are two things involved with that. One is that with Trump, he's not skeptical of anything that says anything he doesn't like or that isn't in agreement with what he makes up. You know, this is a guy that said, you know, take Clorox. You know, and that his
he never said Clorox, man. Let's not.
Okay, I'm sorry. He said bleach.
If we're going to criticize him, let's at least stay accurate. You know.
Okay, he said bleach. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. Anyway, I'll buy you something afterwards because I'm going to have to repent that. But here's a man who doesn't like anything that doesn't comport or agree with what he likes, and he feels like the economy is his salvation, and science is getting in the way. So just because people are dying, there's no reason to listen to it. Basically, that's part of his anti-science thing. But then, as far as his followers go, let me make my point. And I'll be quiet for the next. Man. It doesn't have to be anything else.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
All right, and then with his followers, there are theological underpinnings to a lot of their issues.
That's right.
Okay, one is justification by works. I've mentioned that before, where if according to the movie matrix that we live in here, if you are not doing well, society is doing fine. Okay, society says that you can get as far ahead as you want to. Just Jared Kushner just said that a minute ago, in fact. So if you're not doing well, conversely, it's because you don't want to do well. and don't be blaming society for your problems. That's part of the theological underpinnings of it. But it also contradicts their religious beliefs. Science says the Earth was billions of years old. And their belief is that God created the Earth in 6 days, and it's 5,000 years old by counting back. By counting back generations.
You think Trump believes that?
Oh, Trump doesn't believe anything. He doesn't care. But I'm just saying the underpinnings. The underpinnings of his followers.
Evangelical Christians certainly believe that.
Yeah, well, they believe all kinds of stuff too, and I'm not knocking it.
Yes, you are.
Okay, all right. I can't win up in here, but those theological underpinnings, Darwinism. God made me in His image, not an animal. So there's a lot of conflict between, the religious establishment and science.
Haven't they reconciled that? I mean, there are scientists who are Christian.
Absolutely. I don't think they're irreconcilable, but that takes some finesse that I don't think, and nuance. I'm always talking about nuance, right?
Indeed.
And that requires finesse and nuance. I don't think the typical
what do you think, Emma?
I think he doesn't.
Put your phone down, girl. Stop looking at your phone. You remind me of one of those teenagers.
I was going to read this thing. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you told her to read it. Okay.
Please read that. I'm sorry. I forgot all about that, and that's why you're holding the phone. Exactly. Go ahead.
Okay.
This is Yaounde Olu is responding to one of the subjects we brought up.
Okay, and she said, some people are being short-sighted. This election is far greater than Trump and Biden. It's about the possible loss of our way of life, of democracy and freedoms. People with a historical perspective can see the danger that Trump, QAnon, and their white supremacist minions pose. He is even speaking more and more about, quote, unquote, good genes, a clear eugenicist buzzword.
Woo! For real.
Thank you, Yaounde.
Thank you, Yaounde. And thank you, Bill, for reminding me that I wanted Emma to hold that and speak. Man, I was getting ready to condemn her for looking like a teenager for holding that phone in her hand.
Well, you have been kind of rough today on folks that's here to help you,
Maybe I woke up on the wrong side.
Yes,
I left my phone at home. That's why.
Yeah, any excuse.
But, okay, now what were you saying, Bill? Because I was going to respond to that. Oh, I know. The Trump, I don't think it's about him believing or not believing science. I think it's the whole thing with anything that doesn't correspond with what he's saying is fake news.
Yeah. I said that.
But see, I think both of you are
wrong. I know.
Yeah, not necessarily wrong, but only I think you're biting what the bait that they're putting out for you. Trump is acting irrationally and in a way that seemingly lacks logical base, but he's acting on behalf of forces, man, that have a serious ideological stake in this. And there's a good reason why he's anti-science, because they are anti-scientism. That whole ideology is anti-science. Why he's anti-credentials, why he's anti-expertise, why he's against the deep state. All of these are key concepts in this ideology.
But I did say that his followers have ideology. He doesn't. And that's
I don't think his followers are following QAnon. He believes in conspiracy theories, or he uses. I don't think he believes in anything. He uses.
No, right.
They're populist. Conspiracy theories have a populist allure, and anything that is populist is good for these folks. I mean, they're trying to move in a right wing populist direction, and the time is in their in their corner
Well,
right now.
But there's a dichotomy with conspiracy theorists, because I've known a whole bunch of black ones who come at it from a different perspective.
Like, what do you mean exactly?
The Illuminati, for one, that's the big one.
That's a very populist.
Yeah. The Illuminati. Okay, just to get started. Yeah, and the list kind of goes on. But with black folks, it's understandable because because of the Tuskegee experiment, if they could do that, then there's not a whole lot that you can't believe about them. But I've known black folks that believed that Hillary was in on that child exploitation thing with the kids in the basement.
Pure QAnon there.
Yeah, but I've seen black folks believe it, because they're we've seen
black people believe in QAnon.
We've seen so much evil and ugly in the society that we're susceptible to believe in that, and we've given up hope, and we don't care. That's why we ain't voting. And that's the marginalization of a vote is a statement of empowerment.
Do you think that the Russians are influencing that, as many have concluded, and it seems to be, intelligence seems to indicate that this is indeed the case. The Russian bots are trying to fuel this dissension in our country.
Yeah, I mean, and you can. Okay. So, I mean, you can see with some of the anti-democratic party, pro-Trump people, they seem to have like a flavor of the week. Like last week, everybody came out talking about, I'm not supporting a party that's supporting abortions. About a month ago, there was this mantra, my vote is not a gift, it's a negotiation. And everybody, everybody says this. They say they're speaking independently, but they are,
And if you're in different groups on it,
it's a group think kind of thing.
Yeah, I've dropped out of a lot of groups because of anti-democratic stuff being put out there, and even though most
anti-democratic or anti-democrat,
anti-democrat,
okay,
and most of the responses have been like, "You crazy," But I'm exhausted from all this insanity anyway, and I don't have room in my life, in my mind, in my heart to hear somebody suggesting that they can't tell the difference between Trump and Biden. I don't have it. I know I should be nobler, but I'm not, okay? I am woe out. I'm looking at a damn apocalypse, and that's what it is. We are facing an apocalypse, and y'all talking about, well, I don't know if I want to vote against that apocalypse or not. I mean, I'm sorry, that's what I see.
It's like, what has Trump done specifically to harm black people is the question I got.
And what do you say when you get that question?
Okay, well, number one, he lied about this pandemic, which killed 250,000 people, and a great majority of them are black.
That's right. That's right.
So that was one thing he did. His dog whistling, all of these white supremacists and people who would harm us, giving them carte blanche, to go after us. That's another thing.
Okay, I think it's a little stretch to say giving them carte blanche. I think he is definitely encouraging them,
right?
But I don't think we have to be. What I'm saying is, I don't think we have to be excessive in our critique. There, that's all I'm saying. Okay. Because when you do that, it gives other folks a handle.
Okay, well, dog whistling and foghorning. Like one of the things he's done lately is talk about a possible assassination of Joe Biden, which is warning his people that, okay, if this guy goes, you're going to have a black female president. Y'all don't want that. And I think that's motivating more of his people to go out and vote.
Okay.
he's also just doing this executive order to take the 1619 project out of the schools, to deprive black children of historical knowledge. If he could, he probably would go back to forbidding them to learn how to read and write. I'm sorry, that's exaggerated.
No, not too much.
Yeah, I got you.
And this whole thing about banning the racial sensitivity training, which is, and telling the police they're doing a fine job, just like when they shot Jacob Blake, and he goes to Kenosha, and instead of going to
Kyle Littlehouse, right? Kyle, what was his name? The white guy. That's what you're talking
Rittenhouse.
about? Rittenhouse, right?
Yeah, but also he went specifically to praise the police. The police.
Yeah.
And as opposed to even speaking to Jacob Blake's family.
Right.
And he said he talked to their pastor, and they had a very fine conversation, but they said they don't have a pastor.
Exactly.
One of those imaginary characters that Trump frequently talks to.
Right.
And just to throw something else on top of what you said, which was excellent. Look at all the judgeships that he and McConnell have stolen.
Almost 300. Not stolen, but inserted into the...
Well, I mean, if you look at that Garrett, this last one that came on, that was stolen. I mean, that last Supreme Court thing was stolen. That was a ripoff. That was... that was out and out Bogart. And I know you disagreeing.
No, I'm just I want you to describe what you mean.
Well, okay, Obama couldn't.
Merrick Garland, they prevented him from doing that, right?
Because it was a year of
we're too close to the election.
8 months out, and now 2 weeks out.
Rank hypocrisy, absolutely.
Exactly. So, that's stealing.
They want to win.
Yeah,
stealing. I don't know. It was within the laws. It was just hypocritical. That's all.
Okay, you say tomato, I say tomato.
No, it's not. It's not the same, man. If you say stolen, it was not illegal what they did.
Okay, so what?
That's an important distinction, man.
Yeah, but I mean, everything doesn't have to be legal to be wrong.
I didn't say anything about wrong. I'm saying it was not. You say stolen. I said it was not illegal what they did.
And things being stolen in this country have been illegal, depending on who was doing the stealing. That's all I'm saying.
If it's illegal, it's stolen. If it's legal, it's not stolen.
Okay, well, we'll use whatever nomenclature you want. All right. I mean, it's your show. I
just want you to be accurate, brother. Like
I'm trying.
You're the one who has a reverence for words. I want you to demonstrate that reverence.
He goes again, boy. That's all. He's usually rough, but today he's beside himself.
Go ahead.
Anyway, he really is. Okay, the judges, and then look at the people he has with him. Steve Bannon. Okay, Mike Pence just came out and said that there was no systemic racism in America.
Right.
Okay, I mean,
and so did William Barr.
Oh, Bill Barr, exactly. Right. Well, he's his henchman. He has politicized everything, and because he's.
But that's a good point. Now, tell me this, y'all. Do you think that it is a constitutional oversight to have the attorney general as a part of the president's cabinet?
Yes.
Now it is.
I mean, why wasn't it ever?
I can only go back so far. But what's happening with Trump is that he's doing things that nobody had ever anticipated.
But Kennedy appointed his brother.
Yeah, but his brother didn't act like Barr.
No, but it was his brother.
But he didn't act like Barr.
Yeah, but
he did not create the.
My point is that.
No, I'm not saying that you're wrong. You asked why now? Why
no,
now?
I didn't say now. I said, do you think that it's a constitutional oversight that they included the Attorney General's office in the president's cabinet?
And you were right. Everybody said.
I'm asking you that.
No, everybody agreed.
Yes.
Right? No,
they need to rectify that as soon as Biden gets in.
Yeah,
and you started talking about the specific.
Well, I misinterpreted you. Because I was thinking in terms of why it's such an issue.
But you do think.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Trump proved that. Trump proved that. I mean, this is scary. This is scary. We have no checks and balances now. We have no checks and balances.
And that's exactly what Hitler did.
Exactly.
He put people in positions.
Exactly.
Did you ever hear of Goodwin's Law? Goodwin's Law? No. That's kind of an informal media a prohibition against using a Hitler analogy to describe anybody. As soon as you begin to do that, I violated Godwin's Law. That's how I lost my Tribune gig. I wrote a column that made a Hitler allusion, you know, and I lost the column. But yeah, I think you're right about that. What I'm saying though is that Trump is just acting on the he has. You're saying that he's acting capriciously. And both of you say that he's basically acting capriciously.
Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, he has no ideology, but that doesn't mean.
Yeah, but I'm saying that would the Republican Party follow a capricious tactician?
Yes.
They would? You think?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, once you have something steeped in racism, by definition, you're going to be capricious because your whole fundamental level of...
Why do you have to do that to me, Bill?
Well, come on now.
You make these connections, man, that are not really logical.
Why is that not logical?
Capriciousness and racism? There's nothing least capricious than racism. I mean, white supremacy. Let me say, white people are devoted to it. They're not.
All right, and I'm saying going into that which is not rational.
Okay, all right.
That which is not rational. Okay, and when you're steeped in racism, going back to where all the Dixiecrats had to go over to the Republican Party because of the Civil Rights Act in 1964. That's when they started, and they built and built and built on that. So their whole house of cards is based on racism. It varies up and down, but every presidential campaign basically has been a referendum on us based on their racism and them buying into it. So, and they don't govern based on the good of the country. They're into power for the sake of power. They're good at campaigning, not governing. Now,
do you think that when racism, you say, is probably the common denominator here, right?
It's a big part of it.
Is it the common denominator for both parties or just one party?
Just one party.
Just one party. So if people say that that racism is not the ultimate purpose of the Democratic Party, people who do say that that's the ultimate purpose of the Democratic Party, they're wrong.
I think they are. I think. Okay, just like you said, when Lyndon Johnson did this thing in '64 with the civil rights, and that's when all the Dixiecrats, left the Democratic Party and went to. Okay, then in 2008, when Barack Obama became president, the party moved further to the right. Then the Tea Party. Was created.
Reaction, right.
And I think their whole thing, or one of their main goals is to make sure that never again
Oh, absolutely.
Will a black person be able to get into the White House in any way, shape, or fashion? And, you know, Jesse Jackson and Shirley Chisholm and all them, they ran, but they didn't make it. But now they
laid the groundwork. They laid the groundwork.
Yeah. But now they saw that it happened with Obama. And,
well, like they did
Trump
in
is
Chicago
the savior. Trump is the person who's going to make sure,
make it great again,
make America great again.
Look at the feedback, the blowback when Harold became mayor in Chicago, with Richie Mills hitting a desk with his shoe and all that stuff, jumping on desks and what have you.
And look at all the Democrats in Chicago who went to the Republican and voted for Epton, who
Radoliak, who was the head of the Democratic Party, suddenly became something else, right?
Yeah. But the other thing is it's important to make this distinction, which is there's a difference in something being your primary focus and being free of it. In other words, there's racism in the Democratic Party, and people will point to that as well, they're both racist. They're not.
There are white people in the Democratic Party, so of course there's racism.
Thank you. It's America. Okay, so so this thing of it has to be pure or I ain't buying it. Like I keep saying, if Jesus ain't running against Muhammad, you're going to be voting for the lesser two evils. There is racism in the Democratic Party, but having said that, that's not the focus of the Democratic Party to foment racism. Okay, if anything, their focus is ostensibly to open up a tent for other people to be in it, and they need us. We get all bent out of shape after we haven't voted, and we get a racist Republican in there. We don't have any clout with them because we didn't elect them. Mm-hmm. When we elect somebody, when they depend on our vote, then that makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. And I can't say it strongly enough. We got something going on with us in terms of we got into alleged, ostensible intellectuals, that are saying they're not going to vote, which I got a problem with that. And I think I identified them, Umar Johnson and Boyce Watkins. They're both, neither one of them's voting. They're both anti-Democrat.
And there's this guy, Tim Black, who was a Bernie supporter, and now he is anti-Biden.
Yeah, and it's like, and I guess part of why...
There are some progressives, Emma, who have continued to wage an anti-Biden campaign.
Right.
They began during the Bernie Sanders dispute, during the primaries, but they've continued to be anti-Biden despite the fact.
I was anti-Biden.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, he wasn't my first choice. No, I like Castro. I like Warren. I like Sanders. Biden was like number 4, 5, something like that for me. But that's before you pick your team.
That's right.
You got the team now.
In fact, man, and this is how I would say it in a way. I don't want to dismiss other folks' reasoning, but it seems to me very selfish to simply base your vote on your own individual assessment of what is the right politician or not. This is something that many African Americans, they're dependent on this vote. Their lives are dependent on having access to medical care. Their lives are dependent on having a more generous distribution of resources in this country. And this is something that Republicans are historically against. They've always been against. They're ideologically against it. And for them, for folks to use their own individual predilections or how they assess the political landscape for their own voting preference is really a selfish exercise, because there's much more at stake than your own, good feelings.
Their lives are dependent on police reform.
Yeah, absolutely right.
The idea, I keep going back to, theological or whatever, but the ideological underpinnings of the two go back to the individual versus the group. Excuse me. Wade Nobles, a sociologist, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He did a brilliant schematic of African worldview and European worldview, individual versus group, and how they're opposed. And we have functioned well as a group, or as well as can be expected. But these individuals are jumping off because the Republican Party, the Western thing is that I got mine. This is an aggregate of individuals. We're not responsible for each other. I am responsible for having mine because this is a capitalist, competitive society as opposed to a cooperative society. And the other thing is with the dog whistles. Most of these people, I can show you this woman on here who's talking about how Obama is pulling Biden strings because he's the socialist in charge of everything, and he's a Muslim.
A socialist Muslim. Ain't that something?
Okay. And I remember growing up when they were talking about communism was the worst thing. When I found out what communism was, when I was a little kid, I couldn't believe it. Because I thought
that it was so benign that it had everybody's best interest.
I thought they ate their children. They must have.
Yeah, we learned about it in school about communism, how bad it was.
Yeah. They had you up under.
But there's a residue. There's a residue of that,
Absolutely.
and they're trying to, and that's why when I see now how Trump is resorting to the socialist label, I can only wonder what they would have done had Bernie been successful. Yeah, they would have worn that socialist thing out.
But at the core of that is their disconnection and their inability to grow and learn from experience. Because every time somebody comes out with something to help the general good, they call it socialism. Now they're calling it. Ronald Reagan was like, "Hey, Medicare." Ooh, that's socialism, and I guarantee it will be the end of freedom as you know it. And then Chuck Norris comes out and says the same thing about the Affordable Care Act. Now you have stuff that you need, you're totally dependent on as a group, as a society. And now you're not worried about other people having it, but they don't want us to have anything. So that's a large thing about it.
Well, that's why European countries have been more more agreeable to socialist socialist policies because the populations had been more homogeneous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's when black people kind of jumped over to the Democratic Party. Was in 32 when FDR did his.
Yeah, that started it. That started the migration, but then Civil Rights Act did a big push, and Nixon, Kennedy. That was a biggie there because during that election, Martin Luther King was incarcerated, and Kennedy wrote a letter that he did it quietly, but he wanted the black community to know and not the white community to know. And somehow they finessed that, offering assistance to Coretta Scott King in terms of King's incarceration. And that was another push. So it went in waves, because we were staunchly
Nixon got a lot of black votes. At first, the first time.
Yeah. But then he came out with the same thing Trump's copying now with silent majority. Dog whistles.
Law and order.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, they thought that the Republican Party was defunct after the Goldwater rout.
Right.
They thought it was defunct.
Too. Yeah.
It was a rout, and so the only thing that brought them back was law and order.
Exactly.
Yeah, law and order, it resurrected the Republican Party.
Willie Horton. Willie Horton.
No, before that.
Yeah, this is much before that. Much before that,
Okay.
because what happens is, they don't really care. In their matrix, what is and is justified by its own existence, meaning that we have, when we jump up and say we've had enough, we have a rebellion and we tear stuff up, okay, they're not looking at why it happened. They could care less. All they know is that it happened and it has to be stopped. So when we have police killing us unarmed on tape over and over and over again, then Pence can come up and say, there's no such thing as systemic racism. These are isolated incidents, okay? Or Jared Kushner can say, Trump has made it possible for you to go as far as you want to, but he can't make you go nowhere if you don't want to go. Okay, I mean, Stephen Miller, the Jewish racist
anti-immigration cat.
And they got all this anti-immigration stuff with a first lady who can barely speak English.
Shouldn't black people be skeptical of unlimited immigration? Doesn't that lessen our economic opportunities?
Well, nobody's talking about unlimited.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just asking.
Right. That's what the Republicans have been pushing to the black people. That
not just Republicans. There's a lot of people who are in this city. I have to deal with in various media guises. I often talk to people who have an anti-immigration perspective. And they say that the reason they have it is because, like, for example, sanctuary cities in this city. Why aren't black inmates granted sanctuary? They violated the law, but there seems to be this unreasonable attention to immigrants. And how would you?
That reaction is completely understandable. I don't necessarily agree with it. But we have a warped situation anyway, and black folks interacting with a warped situation, so they're not necessarily going to be able to, it may limit the degree in which we express our humanity as we would otherwise, because, we are the most generous and humane people on the planet. By far. We forgive like 40 going north. We'd have forgiven us folks.
Texas, and they that Texas courtroom makes that clearer than anything else with the hugging of the woman.
Exactly. So when you get in dire straits like that, you get those kinds of reactions, which, I understand it, but when you take it a step further and you see them putting children in cages and you can't find the parents, and then your president says, hey, so what? They living good.
There were people who would say, well, what about the cages that you put black men in? Nobody is caring about their children.
So two rights and two wrongs don't make a right.
All right. That's how you would respond.
Then,
yes.
And they say Obama created those cages.
Yeah, I've heard him say that to
me. He
and
built the cages. That's what Trump is saying.
Yeah,
he didn't.
I responded to a bunch of them on that because it was on a specific date that they initiated the no exceptions clause.
How did you respond?
I gave them the date. I don't have it in my head now. When they passed either an act or what have you that said that there would be no exceptions or something. It was an extreme act that the administration passed, which created the whole thing of separating kids from parents.
Oh, the Trump administration started that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Obama administration, he was called the deporter in charge.
In chief.
Yeah. I mean, he deported a whole lot of folk, and that's another conversation too.
Marcus Garvey, the Marcus Garvey movement, one of the demands of the UNIA was to moderate immigration because they saw it as a direct threat to the employment of black people who were in that same economic bracket for the most part.
But once again, it's in the obfuscation. The real problem with black employment is white folks. It's not immigrants. But see, we keep getting redirected.
Right.
We keep getting redirected all the time, and we're looking over here where the fight is over there.
That's right.
And
we're often provoked to find enemies right next to us, and
Exactly.
they're not there.
Even the poor whites and black, they have made them our enemies when
Well, that was it. That was where they started racism in the first place because they were so afraid of poor whites and blacks coming together.
That was one of the beautiful things about the Patriot Party. Remember during the Panther days, the Appalachian folks, Slim Coleman and them.
Oh yeah,
there was an alliance between the Panther Party and the Patriot Party. White folks, those same white folks, the deplorables. There was actually an alliance between the Panther Party. The so-called
you don't see too many Slim Coleman's coming along, though. I mean, he was a different kind of cat.
Yes, sir.
He was a different kind of cat. But the fact is, and I think sometimes I sound harsh, but my bottom line is we have to really try to understand how we got to where we are. And understand, once again, I have to say it over and over again because it can't be said too much, that we're doing well compared to what's been done to us.
We're doing miraculously
well, but superhumanly well.
Absolutely.
And I think all that has to do with their resentment of us. But it might be too late to tell. Well, I'll tell it briefly. One of the things that, I'm talking about how we've been warped in certain ways. Well, I tell a story of my first encounter with racism.
Talking to the mic.
Okay, I tell a story of my first encounter with racism, not to get sympathy for me, but because so I can see how people react. And it was when I was 6. I was a hula hoop champion. I could hula hoop like you wouldn't believe.
That must have been a sight.
Yeah. Anyway, I was best in the neighborhood, but I didn't know about the other neighborhoods in terms of how good they were. So they had this big contest, citywide hula hoop contest, and the first prize was a Shetland pony. And I worked like an Olympic athlete. I mean, I was so good I could throw it out, with backspin and have it come back, pick it up with my wrist down to my ankles and back up and dance, perform. I could do all that. Still scared because I don't know what these kids in the other communities can do. I thought they were like little evil scientists. Got there and come to find out none of them, not a single one of them could do anything but basic hula hoop. I mean, that's it. And when I saw that, I went berserk. You know nothing about my personality. Didn't know I clowned. I mean, I performed.
So you won.
Here's what happened.
What happened?
White man came over and said, "You better sit down because the contest is getting ready to start." I thought it had started, but I did what I was told. When I sat down, they picked up this little white girl's hand and gave her first prize.
Wow.
I got second prize, a bike, to keep them from being a riot, but it was outrageous. Now, the reason why I tell that story is I'm an old man now. I mean, I ain't looking for no sympathy from when I was 6 years old. But the reason why I tell it is because the reaction that I get all the time from black folks is not, "Oh, that was horrible. Oh, what kind of racism? That was unfair." 9 out of 10 black folks say, "Well, what was you going to do with the pony anyway?" I mean, they don't even get that it was wrong. Oh, you sitting there thinking that too.
No, I was going to ask in the beginning, why are they giving out a pony in Pittsburgh?
That was first prize, man. You know, and but I mean, people, 9 out of 10 of them, they're not upset about the injustice.
And you think they should be upset at the racism?
You don't think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
so why do you think they
wrong.
aren't? Why do you think they aren't? That's the question.
Because they're so accustomed to it. It's so accepted. It's so much a part of who we are and what we experience that it didn't even hit them. All they can think of is, what was you going to do with the pony? Well, I did have something to do with the pony, by the way.
Weren't we socialized for subservience?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's my point.
Okay.
That is totally my point.
And how can we extract ourselves from that socialization process?
Well, that's what we keep talking about in terms of delegitimizing the messages.
Capital. Cultural capital.
And we need economic capital to develop that.
Yeah, and
reparations.
Well, yeah, you know, anyway.
Bill is not on the reparations
I am on the reparations team. I'm not calling it the panacea.
Okay,
and I do think that there's psychological warfare that needs to be waged in addition to.
Okay, good enough. That's a good place to stop on the psychological warfare note. I really appreciate it, although we've been kind of stunted a bit in this presentation, but you heard some of the best words. So I really appreciate your presence. My presence will be here again on Wednesday. Peace.
WIFTBPN. WIFTBPN.
Chicago Famous, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
You ever have one of those moments in comic view that was just something you were like, wow, I can't believe that just unfolded like that?
Deion Cole will tell you, when he did his first Def Jam, he said he only had 15 minutes of material, but it was so impactful that they booked him, and now he's on the Def Jam tour with the 15. There's 7 of them already on Def Jam. So now you got to create build an act. A new production company came in, and they decided, nah, if they come out here and they bomb, show it, and put crickets.
Oh yeah,
they started putting little crickets and sound effects, and that didn't work. They would overdo it too. This was funny too. This is another behind the scenes comedy. Those laugh when you see people buckling over and laughing. That might not even be your audience.
They edited that from another.
Dude, you'll look and see this lady in all the episodes. You're like, she must be a paid audience member. How is that lady laughing at everybody's show? I used to do a joke. Like one time, I saw me laughing at me on Comedy View. I'm like, how did I get in the audience on my own special? What are they doing?
Oh man. David Williams.
Those are the days, man.
Man, thank you for stopping by Chicago Famous.
Your voice will be heard.
Your vote is precious, almost sacred. It is the most powerful non-violent tool we have to create a more perfect union.
Change will happen.
And so all men of goodwill will go to the polls on November 3rd. And I hope we will have a great day in our nation so that when we wake up on the 4th of November, we will know that America has made the right decision.
Mark your calendars for What's in It for the Black People Media special election night coverage. This is the nation's only culturally specific digital platform that respects the Black community's diverse viewpoints. We're here for you. The only place to stay on top of 2020 election night coverage is on the Maze Jackson page on Facebook and Maze Jackson on YouTube. It all starts Tuesday night at 7.
You know who to vote for. I'm just asking you to vote.
WIFTBPN.
Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio. You're listening to I Said What I Said.
Wait, what did you say?
I said you're listening to I Said What I Said.
I just said that.
I know you just said that.
That's what I just said.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Exactly what he just said.
With Herb Howard and Toussaint Werner.
That's about one of the nicest things you ever said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
That's why we shine wherever we go. 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 Lord, Lord. Welcome to the mind of a pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got dressed. We don't give a fuck what the cop said. I'm living a legacy. So even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. Fuck with me.
Great afternoon to you wonderful people. Welcome to this Monday edition of I Said What I Said. We are live from the beautiful What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. My name is Herb Howard alongside my esteemed co-host Toussaint Werner. We get together right here with you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and discuss issues that are impacting the Black community, how those issues impact us as individuals, and how they impact us as a collective. And along with your help, we talk through many of these issues with the hopes of finding the best ways to overcome many of these obstacles. Again, overcome them as individuals, but more importantly, overcome them as a collective. Thank you all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of the conversation. As always, your input is valued. It is certainly appreciated. Anything you want to add to the conversation, feel free to do so. We will read through as many of the comments as possible. We would kindly ask you, please take a quick second to share the conversation. Share it on your personal page. Share it even within your personal network. Anyone, absolutely anyone that you think would either find value in or add value to this particular conversation, we welcome them to be a part of it. It is our sincere belief that the more like-minded individuals we can get to be a part of this discussion, the better opportunities we have of reaching the optimum solutions going forward. So please take a quick moment and share the conversation by clicking on that little arrow in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Also, if you feel so inclined, you can contribute to the show by clicking on the little gold stars in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. We certainly appreciate that as well. Again, this is I Said What I Said. My name is Herb. His name is Two. What's happening, good brother?
What up, dope family? I'm blessed and highly favored. How you?
Ain't nothing to it, man. Just maintaining. I saw you. I saw two things that I'm pretty sure correlate.
What's that?
I saw you post about hopping on your bike this weekend, and then I saw you limping into the studio today.
You know, well, it's not really one and the same, right? One is I got to get this hip replacement surgery. There's no way around it. The other one is if I don't do it, if I don't keep riding this bike, it's gonna get worse. So you know, it works and it doesn't. It work. It looks like it's working in conjunction, but it's not. Right? You know what I mean? It's part of the game.
What's that song that was like SWV, the Cause and Cure?
I don't know nothing about SWV. I would have no idea.
I get so weak song. I guess I should have been a singer low key.
Right. I remember that song, but other than that, I don't know nothing about it.
That's the song where they say the cause and cure is you.
I swallow my pride.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and let that out, girl. That came from deep. That came from somewhere down this motherfucker. Like that was.
So weak in the hip, I can
Let's go. Got jokes.
She had you. Shout out to Sonia Escobar. She is the absolute very, very best in the business. She wears a whole lot of hats around here. She does it well. Thank you, Esco. We appreciate you.
I want to wear that hat. I love that hat.
You know what? This is.
And your shirt. Hold on now. Let me see.
I mean, I'm just a young flat nigga. You know. This shirt comes from Everything Premium. Their store is located on East 75th Street. I want to say like 454 East 75th Street.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, in between King and Cottage. I want to say it's like 454 East 75th Street. Everything Premium is where this shirt came from. This hat, this Love brand, is a brand of this artist from Chicago. His name is Jamel Michael Lewis. He's an R&B singer. He was actually a finalist on BT Sunday Best, but this Love brand is his. So. I try to get my whole wardrobe to be local, black-owned designers.
That's right.
Yeah, I can't except like jeans and shoes. I don't know who makes like jeans or shoes, and I don't know. But my t-shirts, hoodies, hats, all that shit, locally and black-owned. So appreciate the compliment. Right. I'll get you one of these hats though.
Matter of fact, though, since if you're local and black-owned and you want to support the I Said What I Said shows you, we offer blessings. You know, you can give us a blessing offering. Yeah. So sponsor the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sponsor the show. And we can make it mutually beneficial. I look good in everybody's stuff, so I rock your stuff.
There it is. How we heard.
I mean, facts. You can't turn it off. You know?
It is. It just is what it is.
It just is what it is.
The burden
it's
you
natural.
have to bear.
It's his burden.
It's tough. It's tough.
Life is tough.
Somebody got to do it though, man.
Jesus, hot boy Herb.
Tell you what, man, we are coming up on Election Day tomorrow. And y'all make sure y'all keep it here tomorrow evening on What's in It for the Black People Media. We will have the election covered from every angle possible, nationally and locally. We will be having it covered. We'll be here in the studio with you guys starting at 7 p.m. tomorrow. So make sure tomorrow evening you guys are here with us. We got some great things planned for you guys, some great interviews, some great guests, and as always, quality coverage and content from What's in It for the Black People Media. So please be here with us tomorrow evening for election night. What's in It for the Black People Media style.
Nah, that's real, man. I was almost gonna go get a haircut for that, but then I changed my mind.
Yeah. Gee, I need a haircut so bad. It's not even okay.
I know. I think I'm gonna go, guys.
You gonna cut your hair?
You just don't understand these tips.
No, Esco, I understand. Trust and believe. Like before,
Esco, you draping though.
Right. But before COVID, like this wasn't how I rocked. Yeah. You know what I mean? So this is all
you
new.
Always had a fresh,
you know
crispy fade.
Yeah, this is all new for me. But then COVID came and I started going to the barbershop. But
and you kinda got used to it. It's kinda grown on you. Now I'm not gonna know what when you come back with a fresh fade, so I'm like, oh,
yeah, but I was thinking about
just when I got used to that caveman shit.
Yeah, I didn't know you before pre-COVID.
But I was thinking about tomorrow, because doing the election coverage and specifically doing with Todd and Mays is going to introduce us to a new conversation, a new audience. Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, these motherfuckers going to be judging me. Because I'm going to get my hair braided. I'm let my daughter braid my hair tonight or something like that.
Hey, man.
I mean, if something happens and we're live somewhere, we want to look good.
Yeah.
Might go
I still
national.
look good. I'm a handsome brother.
Go national.
You know what I mean?
You are.
But I know there's like a standard. You know what I mean? A standard of expectation, and I hate following into the standard of expectation. But it's kind of the dichotomy of the conversations we have here.
Yeah.
Like it's the dichotomy of being black in America. It's like what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. How do you keep pushing forward?
Yeah.
Right. And at some levels, to be successful, you got to capitulate at some levels. And I've been able to kind of like grant or achieve some level of success without really capitulating.
Yeah.
But that's all been on my own accord.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And as the ball keeps getting pushed further and further down the line, you got to start asking yourself, damn, when is this going to come to fruition?
Mm-hmm.
When am I going to have to deal with this? And I don't never really want to deal with it. And I know that because of that, certain doors get closed in my face.
Sure.
I got to be real about it. You know what I mean? But and my hair, and please understand, I don't give a shit about hair enough to not make that be the hindrance.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this is like a reaction to COVID, not a reaction to style.
Yeah.
But it's still like, not just because of the kind of dude I am, it's like, no, fuck that. Just because I want to stand on some shit. You know what I mean? Like, no, fuck y'all.
No, I dig it, man. I dig it. I'm absolutely looking forward to you and Mays and Todd, kind of anchoring the election coverage tomorrow night. But the whole team is going to be involved. I'll be here. I don't know if I'm going to be on the camera now. I'll probably just be doing some things around the back. But I will be dressed in case I do pop up on the camera. It is a historical time, right? We're talking about this. I don't know if we've ever seen an election be so divisive, like just in terms of the country, like the energy that's going around the country. And we're going to play out some videos today where you see some of that divisiveness like play out all over the streets in all different places where people are just like, I mean, it don't even matter. Like, and so it's interesting because a lot of these things are done under the cloak of like politics, right? But I was telling you that yesterday I drove right through a Trump rally on 111th. I was in Mount Greenwood for whatever fucking reason. And I drove through. I'm driving right through.
What was you about Greenwood?
Yeah, we ain't going.
I really want to hear this story.
It's not a part of the story.
I'm sure it's a story to this.
It's not a part of the story.
It's a story to this, though. Sure.
Huh?
Hot Boy Herb strikes again.
Why do y'all be at me like
law
this?
and order around here.
Nah, I was driving down 111. I just pop and I look up and I just drove right into the middle of a Trump rally. There's Trump signs and horns and flags and all this other crap going on. And I was just taking the back bags. I'm looking around. And I'm just, it's slow. It's a lot. The traffic is kind of like slow. So I'm just looking around and they looking at me like, and I'm looking at them. They looking at me and I'm like y'all looking at me. And you made the point to me outside the studio a minute ago, like, yo, they do this under the cloak of like politics, but really they don't know my political affiliation at all. But they do know it's a nigga right there driving through the middle of this Trump rally. Just looking at him, I'm like, yeah. Okay.
Hey, listen,
like y'all don't know me. Y'all don't know what I'm about politically, but it's a race thing.
Build the wall. I'm trying to come home.
I'm with y'all. Build that wall.
I'm trying to come home.
And at first I let my windows down. I was telling you, like, at first I let my windows down because I just kind of wanted to hear it. I just wanted to feel the energy of it. And
They look right at you though.
Hey, man,
and then
Sonya is hilarious.
Something's wrong with her.
That shit is funny, man.
Something's wrong with her, man.
God, that's funny. She said, "I'm with y'all.
Build that wall." This little Mexican lady just hop out. Build that wall. Build that wall.
I assimilate very quickly.
Oh shit,
that's fucking hilarious. Man. It really is. It really is. I let the windows down because I wanted to feel the energy, and then I was like, you know what, Herb? You're inviting some bullshit.
Yeah, roll that window up.
I said, let me roll my window up because if somebody like spits on me or throws something at me, this whole thing is finna get sent up. I'm going to jail. Somebody's leaving here with at least a fractured jaw, and then they can fuck me up after that. But that first one, I'm getting off. Like,
man, Mount Greenwood different though, G.
It's different. And so I was like, roll your windows up, Herb. Just roll through. Because first of all, fuck Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying? But y'all, but it's not a political thing. Y'all just looking at me because it's a black dude coming through here.
Man, listen, my daughter was heavy into gymnastics a few years back, right? And she had to practice in Mount Greenwood, brother. Every time I had to pick her up, and when it's like a sundown town inside of the city, G. It's different, bro. Like, I used to be nervous all the time, and I break the law every time I get in the car. I ain't never had a driver's license, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying.
He said what he said.
But yeah, man, it's different over, man.
Different,
you
dog.
can feel the energy. It's like, why you here? And once you feel it, it's like, get your ass out of here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I'm looking for. I won't say I'm looking forward to it. I'm very interested to see what the response will be nationally, based off whatever results come in tomorrow. Now, I don't think we're really gonna know the winner for at least a day. Probably it could be weeks or months with these two motherfuckers. But either way,
unless it's a blowout.
Yeah, which it may be. Which I kind of think
you were saying before the show. That's scary to think.
I kind of think he's gonna
boarding up stores.
I kind of think dude gonna win by like 10% at least.
Which dude?
Dude.
Oh boy?
The white dude.
Oh
the
boy?
white dude.
The white dude.
The racist white dude
gonna win.
The racist white dude's gonna win.
Which one is that?
The racist white dude gonna win by at least 10%.
Definitely the white dude is gonna win. That's how it's definitely gonna happen.
Yeah, and so I'm interested to see what the response will be. Nationally, locally. I was listening to Muwakkil's World, and they was getting at it. Shout out to King Salim, man. All respect and honor to that brother. Make sure y'all tune in to Muwakkil's World. It's real high level conversation in that in Muwakkil's World. You need to ascend into Muwakkil's World. You gotta put your things
at some levels. G, it's us with big words.
Yeah. No, Salim is as real a dude as they come. Like they don't come more real than Salim. He's got a whole bunch of words that you like. Oh,
right, minus the braids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what it is. But he had braids back in the day, though. Salim, he so reminds me of my father. I swear to God, it's like I grew up in that man's house. They was the same dude. G, swear to God.
I love Salim, man. Like, and for real, that dude is so dope to me, man. The Black Forrest Gump, man, is what I call him.
I would fight people for Salim.
Yeah, for real. Like Salim is that dude. I love that dude. But anyway, man, I don't know. What you think is gonna be crazy? Like tomorrow? Or in the coming days?
I think the next 30 days is going to be smeared with terrorist attacks across the country.
Jeez.
That's what I think. Like I
domestic
reached out.
terrorism?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
White terrorism at that. Not just domestic. It's going to be white male terrorism. It's just going to be what it is.
Or female. I've been seeing a lot of white.
Well, they count.
I've been seeing a lot of white MAGA women going crazy too.
That's true too. But like I reached out to my son last night. Like, look here, this has finna play out. You down there with them. You know what I'm saying? This is how I want you to move. You know what I mean? Reached out to my network down there. Look here, he down there with y'all. This is what address, location, phone number. Like it's that serious. You know what I mean? It's going. I have no question in my mind. It's going to go up, and it's going to go up regardless of who wins, because both fractions have that kind of an energy behind them. You know
what do you think is going to be the most? What would be the most? I don't know what word I want to use. Salim, call me so I can get a word. What do you think could be like the most combustible circumstance? Right? Would it be for Trump to win or for Biden to win? Like, if Biden win, them MAGA motherfuckers going crazy. They gonna send this joint right the fuck up. Nah. You don't think so?
Yeah, they are.
They gonna send it up.
But I think they're gonna send it up. I think they're gonna send it up either way, though, bro. I think we've just kind of. It's funny, man. It's like I was listening to this comedian not too long ago, and he was talking about Instagram. He was talking about how women on Instagram are always naked. He says it's getting to a point where it's like it don't even move you anymore. It's like, yeah, I've seen that 1,000 times. So after a while, it becomes so normalized that getting back to regular clothes is gonna be like, ooh, look at her, she got on nice jeans. So it was a joke.
It's cyclical like that.
It was a joke, but it does speak to the cyclical nature of just the universe. So right, you got to go through these negatives to get back to self-correction.
What's that face? Let's go. You disagree?
I mean, if your entire feed and who you're following are all naked females, then yeah, that's what's gonna pop up, right?
Are you saying we choose that content?
I think that's damn near any feed, though. That's just what it is. There's a whole contingency of people who move through the.
I ain't gonna lie. In my feed, there's a lot of females.
It is what it is. But what I'm saying is the universe has a way of self-correcting. Yeah. Right? You normalize that, then it's not. You're not intrigued by it.
You're right.
No
I'm
more.
wearing a turtleneck.
Yeah, it's like
guys looking at
no
me
big
like,
deal.
was that a turtleneck?
Right. So it's just the way that the universe self-corrects, and I just think we're going through that portion of time where the universe is getting to the bottom to recorrect, to recalibrate. You know what I mean? And I think, again, we talk about this all the time. Part of human nature is just specifically in regards to like masculinity and specifically in regards to like power. There has to be a threat attached to that, and be clear about that. White male power is being threatened in this moment, right? So any natural community of whatever, any living organism, just a community is being threatened, they're going to respond. And what that response looks like is going to be violence. It just is what it is. I don't see no way around it. So I think, people talking about Trump as this is the most important election of our lifetime, or this is the last stronghold, or this election means this, that, and the third. I disagree. And I think this energy started happening. Obama won his first election, right? Because that's when it became a visible representation of the threat.
Right.
Like, this is the first time we're like, he's the first black president. Be clear, he's the first anything other than white male president. You're threatening our power now. That's why you start to see the trajectory, right? The Trayvons, the Mike, that was Obama. That wasn't Trump. The energy that was raised up out of that on the grounds from Obama's elect. Obama became the conduit for Trump. Without an Obama, Trump does never exist.
No.
Right?
That was
so
what it was.
Obama was the threat.
Yeah. It's like, okay, y'all had a black dude. We are going to find the most conservative white dude we can. Ignorant motherfucker who don't know shit. Right?
The realest nigga we can find.
Exactly.
He's the realest representation of what a nigga is.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. All you had to do was be white, male, and hate niggas, and you win.
That's it. It was gonna go back to that complete polar opposite of Obama. Not politically speaking, in terms of policy and all that, but just in terms of the look and the feel of the two people. Yeah.
It's symbolic.
Yeah, they weren't for it. It pissed them off. And the people were like, oh, Trump is creating these people.
And we talk about how there's a kind of
they've been like that.
There's a kind of misnomer that says Trump emboldens this kind of racist energy.
I think that may be some truth there.
See, I don't know. Not to say he doesn't, but it's also like it's secondary. Obama emboldened the energy.
No, he pissed them off.
But the energy,
but it wasn't sanctioned.
The ball was already moving.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying? Right, so they elected Trump. The ball was moving.
Right.
This is who we
want to get his ass
to
in the
speak
Oval
on our behalf because we already own this shit.
Right.
It is what it is.
Right. Yeah, that's an easy chicken or the egg thing to figure out, right?
Yeah.
The energy came before Trump.
The energy came before.
Otherwise, he wouldn't be what the fuck he is.
The energy is what this country is rooted in.
Facts.
Right? But then to have that representation of power as a African man, because I hate saying Obama's me, because I don't believe he's the first black in that construct.
I'm with you.
For my personal opinion.
With you.
But he represented something different than what this country is built on.
Yeah.
And until we deal with the original sin of this country, which is only going to happen via another community taking power. Because while I hold power as the white dominant figure, why the fuck I gotta address my original sin? I'm gonna keep rolling in the dirt.
Yeah, I don't
off
have
this shit.
I don't have to. It's working well for me.
It is what it is, man.
We got to take our first break, man. When we come back, we're going to be showing you guys some videos of that energy permeating across the country in many, many very visceral ways. I'm talking about locally. I'm talking about nationally. These MAGA people, they're different. They are different. And whether Trump is emboldening them or not, they feel that way, and they're acting that way. This is I Say What I Said. His name is Tu. My name is Herb. We'll be right back.
WIFTBPM.
Whatever happened to you falling in that grocery store?
Your guess is as good as mine. My auntie said she knew someone. I gave her all the information, but that was 3 weeks ago and I still haven't heard anything.
You still got time to talk to the lawyers at the CLN.
The CLN? What's that?
It's the Chicago Legal Network, a group of fraternities that concentrate in many areas of law, especially the laws most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. Plus, all the lawyers at the CLN all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community.
Sounds like I definitely need to contact them.
Say less. I can text you everything you need to know. So if you're ever injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information, or call 773-912-3545. That's 773-912-3545. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation.
Protected by women is going both ways. Trigger with instructor Mike on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Oh, it's going both ways. When do you all stand up and say we are not about to sit here and let you tarnish the reputation of our brother, right? Whether he did good or not, let's be honest. Maybe we didn't reach out to Superintendent Johnson. Maybe we didn't attend the CAPS meetings. Maybe there were some things we could have done in the policing to be better. We don't want to make that admission, but we are not about to let you tarnish the reputation of a man simply because you did what some of us do. We fuck and then we go. You came or you didn't. Apparently, Johnson was good because you wanted the Oscar Mayer wiener. You were trying to get bars sucking on stars. I'm just saying, lady, you did what you wanted to do and you did it well. For 3 fucking years, who gets raped for that long? And you carry a gun every day. You see women who catch their spouses cheating and kill them right then and there. You had the power and the legal ability under 720 ILCS 5 section 7-1 in defense of yourself. You are authorized to use deadly force to stop a forcible felony, but it's hard to stop a forcible felony when you're sucking on it under a melody. I'm just saying, stop with the bullshit. Yeah, I'm not going. Only on What's in It for the Black People Media Network.
WIFTBPN.
Yo, Mike Brown is
Obviously,
the wildest.
you wanted the
dude.
Johnson from Mr. Johnson.
Yo.
That shit
Trigger Mike.
Man.
Shout out to Mike Brown, man. Y'all make sure y'all tune in to Triggered every Tuesday and Thursday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with instructor Mike. He is an expert gun instructor, but he is also a wild dude.
Mike crazy as hell, man.
He crazy as fuck. I love Mike, man. Listen, I gotta be Mike Brown again. I gotta dress up as Mike Brown again.
Oh, yeah, good job.
I did it on Friday and it was cool, but I didn't get to be Mike enough. In the middle of the relationship Friday conversation, it wasn't a lot of Mike shit there, but that could have been raw right there. I should have came with some of that Johnson
Wanted
shit.
the Johnson from Mr. Johnson while sucking on his Oscar Mayer
Some of us
wiener.
like to fuck and go.
Some of us like to fuck and go.
Hey, he's
Mike
wild.
is crazy.
Trigger Mike strikes again, man. Make sure y'all tune in to Trigger every Tuesday and Thursday right here on What's in It for the Black People Media. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Make sure y'all tune in to all of the shows. Really, though, we open it up in the morning. The Mace Jackson Show, first thing 6 to 9. Make sure y'all tune into that. We move into BOD, the Book of Don. Shout out to Don Millhouse. That's every day, 9 to 11.
Mm-hmm.
Then on Tuesdays, I said Mike Brown would trigger 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. On Wednesdays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It is Salim Muwakkil. Then us, 1 to 3. And then Chicago Famous. Shout out to the Bigs on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They are here, 1 to 3 p.m. Shout out to the Bigs, man. I got a new show with the Bigs.
That's right.
The kickoff kickback. Yeah, every Sunday at 10 a.m. Man, we get you set for that Sunday slate of NFL games, and it's fun, man. We be kicking it. It's a little
good
kickback.
show, man. It's good energy. I watched y'all the other day, and I still ain't fucking with football, but I see your Bears got their ass beat again, huh?
Jesus Christ, them motherfuckers.
They fucking ass.
They are terrible.
Yeah,
I found myself like hope like
it goes to Walter
Mr.
Payton
Trubisky gonna come
back
back
all the time like mid-season. Once it goes to Walter Payton gets sick of their ass, they start losing. Because other than that, they don't have no wins anyway.
Yeah, it's bad for business, man. It's bad for. I don't know about them Bears. It's not looking good. But anyway, man, we got some videos that we want to play, y'all. So whenever you want to play one too, just let me know.
Let's rock one out, Najee. Let's just show some of this energy that's happening across the country.
All right.
And you get any sound?
I don't hear it. Let's go. Why we don't hear it?
Your laptop, right?
Yep, it's on.
Volume up?
Everything's up. All the volume's up.
Get out of the car!
Thank you.
Back, they're blocking me in. Don't worry about it. It's okay. That's fine. They're blocking me in. The Patriots followed me.
No,
This is their true
Boston.
colors. I want everyone to know they came. This is a hate crime.
Because later in the video, she's going to say something about
They're coming into
DPD.
my car right
They ain't in Baltimore.
now. Get out of the car! Get out of the car!
Get out the car.
I'm not scared. If I was scared, I would have left.
Pop that trunk.
I need everyone to see this. That's why I'm chilling right here. For what?
Get out of the car. I want to talk to you about why you screwed my car. You hard with that fucking pepper spray? Fucking spray me, you fucking nigga.
You called me what?
Yeah, you called me.
I got Queen herself. Oh my god, what the hell? Ew. You came strapped up like that for a 20-year-old female? Oh, you a big man. For a female, bro. For a female.
On an old man.
He walked up to us.
Come get it.
Come get it?
Come on.
Are you saying come get it for a female? Hey.
Female supposed to be in the house.
What?
Hey, she's a female? Right here. Let's
No, so you guys can jump me, so you can jump me.
Put your phone down. What's up? Put your phone down, baby girl.
It's a toast for me.
Hey, it's your fucking face for me, bitch. Do something. Fuck that bitch up. Do something. Fucking
Motherfucker. My phone.
Do something. Fucking slap your fucking phone right out of your fucking hand, bitch.
Back up.
Like, bitch. I'll stick that fucking goddamn camera for you. Fuck you, stupid bitch.
That's somebody's like great woman.
You're a stupid whore. Why don't you get a fucking education?
Probably their wife too.
Hey, get her license plate. Get her. Get her. No, get her. Now you fucking like it, you stupid cunt face cord.
Hey. Biden 2020. Tried grabbing my phone. She really tried grabbing my phone. She reached in my car. So I have it all on video. They sprayed us with bear mace. Can you? No, don't let them leave. They just did a felony. They created a felony.
He's leaving.
They're leaving. You're letting them leave the scene. You're letting them leave the scene. Don't let them leave the scene.
They are pepper spraying.
Hey, no, let me talk. Please don't let them leave the scene. They committed a crime, and I'm asking you not to let them leave the scene.
Right now, we're here because there are people fighting. Okay, so we have no idea what's going on.
But you're gonna let them leave, and I'm telling you they committed a crime.
So we don't have enough units here yet. I'm not going to take any reports of assault or anything right now until we have enough. What's their badge number? So.
But if they leave, that's leaving a crime scene, right? That's fleeing the scene.
Okay, so like I said,
all I know is that she says BPD.
Okay, I'll let you do your job. My bad.
I'm assuming
I'll let you do your job.
Because that's the kind of energy they got in Boston.
To leave the scene when they just committed a felony. They sprayed somebody with bear mace, and I made that very clear to both officers.
They're not here. We have to have a victim for an
But I told you I could call him, and I told you I had it on video, and I asked you not to let them leave the scene.
They don't even give a fuck.
When he was here,
you guys said
when he was
that's false. We need one person talking. We need one person talking. That doesn't make any sense because somebody had mentioned on the other side of town that one of us had a gun and BPD drew their guns at us and had those men get out of the car, right? I'm telling you that I had it on video and the people are still there. I asked you, do not let them leave the scene. I told you I had it on video that they committed a felony and I could show you. I told them that we could have the victim come out and you guys are still letting them leave. Why are they able to leave the scene? I'm a victim too, but they just surrounded me. They harassed me. They just surrounded me and blocked me in the parking lot. They tried to hit my phone multiple times. I have it. I'm still live. I have all of this on live. It's the 1776 Patriots.
What?
I know a lot of officers are on that Facebook group.
Look at him.
But I'm just the scene. I didn't say you were. I said there are a lot of officers. No. Why is this funny?
Okay. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. Based on what you told me, all right, no crime has been committed. Yeah, it has. Just listen to me. Give me a chance to speak. Okay, don't interrupt me. Wait. You're gonna laugh? So you just told me that it was funny, right? And then you got upset at me for laughing, and you just did the same.
Because I just told you they sprayed bear spray. That is a crime. You cannot spray bear spray on someone.
You got anything?
What's your badge number? Excuse me.
1328.
No,
wait.
One at a time. Why you guys gotta?
Mine is 1328.
He still ain't give me his badge number.
Maroon in the back. They're blocking me in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's wild as hell.
That's fine. They're blocking.
Like, The fact that the police did not give a single solitary fuck about it, though. They like, yeah, okay, whatever. Bunch of white people assaulted you.
Fuck you.
Whatever. Like, we here to make sure they cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, we trying to figure out where it's at, Cassandra. All we know is that she said BPD, so we don't know if they're in Baltimore or if they're in Boston. The energy seems very Bostonian to me, but it could be Baltimore. Hell, like I told you, I was in Chicago yesterday and came up on one, so it could be anywhere.
Bumblefuck America.
Yeah, it was in America.
That's what it is.
Anywhere in America, that's kind of just what it is. And so, listen, I want people to be careful, right? I understand the stance that I take on this issue in terms of like not being scared and just kind of being, you know, like unapologetically black or unapologetically just on the side of right? And but that being said, that could have been a potentially very dangerous situation for that. I think she said she was 20-year-old female. That could have been a very dangerous situation for her to find herself in the middle of them, and you see the police didn't care. They would not have aided or assisted her in any way, shape, or form. She told them that her friend had got sprayed with mace, and they told her that there's no crime there, right? There's whatever, no crime there, and walked off. And I think that, you know, that's just kind of the energy. That's really just what it is right now, and I think that people have to be aware and try and at least, I don't know, just use some sense of judgment to not end up in a situation that could be potentially harmful for them.
How do you avoid that?
Well, I'm just saying, in that particular incident, right? She's in the middle of her car. She's getting out of her car. She's talking like fuck that.
But they also, now I don't know how that video started. They blocked her in, and this is just one incident.
Because
this is an isolated incident,
right? And they targeted her because she had a Black Lives Matter flag.
But you just talked about the other day riding through Mount Greenwood by accident, having no
I
understanding
just
that this was going on, and just riding through there. The energy was like, that nigga.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying?
It was.
Then you had the other. There was on 55 yesterday, they had a whole big rally. I got another video of from New York. Then it was the Biden Harris truck that got surrounded.
Yeah, I
like,
want to play that one too.
Where do you draw the line? Like, how do you secure yourself from this kind of energy? Because this is the overwhelming response from the country in totality.
I think the only thing you can do is to meet that type of energy with greater or with equal or greater force, right? Because you're not dealing with rational people that's just going to leave you alone because you aren't bothering them. Wasn't bothering y'all to start with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Nothing to do with you bothering them.
Yeah.
They're not looking for you
It's what it is. That's America, though, right? And so even go back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, we're going to, okay, y'all don't want us around? Cool. We're going to go way over here. We're going to do our own thing. Y'all ain't got to worry about us. That's still not good enough. We're going to come over there and burn that shit down and kill y'all over there, too, because it ain't about, we don't like you. We hate you. The level of hate cannot continue to be underestimated. This shit is real. These motherfuckers have a whole bunch of hate in their heart, and they're going to express it. And is Trump making them feel more emboldened to do so? Perhaps. I don't know, right? Either way, that's who they are. And Trump wasn't the president, you know what I'm saying, during Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just this is America. This is what it is, and when that energy starts to kind of get riled up, you're just gonna see it play out all over the time, all over the place. It's just kind of what it is.
But there's some basic understandings, right? Just like any other bully, right? You hit a bully in the motherfucking mouth, they stop being a fucking bully. It just is what it is. But if you let a bully continue, they don't never stop being a fucking bully. So that's why I asked the question, like, how do you avoid that? At what point do you start to respond to that? You know what I mean? There has to be a point in our contention that we have to respond to this kind of energy. A victim is going to be treated like a victim until he stops being a fucking victim.
Period.
It just is what it is.
Period.
You know what I mean?
You have to be.
So I'm asking, like, how do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line? And then we got to do the math. Like, you can look at the election states, the red states, the blue states, right? The America, I tell people all the time, man, there's black people in like 5 places.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We ain't
you get outside of Chicago, you get outside
Atlanta,
Detroit, Atlanta,
Baltimore,
that's
Oakland.
it. It's over.
We ain't nowhere else.
We ain't nowhere else.
Nah.
You know what I mean? So, and Chicago is Mecca for black people.
Yeah.
Look, Chicago has the largest concentration of black people in all of America.
Yeah.
And if you riding through this shit through Mount Greenwood, which is still Chicago, where you think you safe?
And it's like 1 in the afternoon, and I'm just driving. I just happen to look up, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Flags, cars, horns, red hats.
And that's Chicago.
This Chicago,
right.
nigga.
Chicago, nigga.
Right.
So the energy here is very different than, let's say, even in Atlanta. Right? Atlanta is not Chicago in essence of how we think about population, right? And Atlanta's heavy in regards to black people, right? So you Baltimore, we can name all them places. None of them are as heavy as Chicago in regards to how the population looks, right? DC too. Somebody just mentioned DC too. But again, how do you avoid this shit when we know what the contingency of black people are in Chicago and you're dealing with the same energy here, right? So you get outside of a place like here that has this kind of a population. What does that energy look like, right? I lived in Cedar Rapids, Iowa for a little while. You know what I mean? I lived in some other places for a little while. That's some different shit. You know what I mean? I don't see how you avoid it.
College was a culture shock for me, just going down to SIU in Carbondale. Like, Southern Illinois is different. Like, I mean, there's nothing really in Illinois. So if you ain't really had no reason to go down there, you probably ain't never been down there. But it is a different place.
It's different.
You get south of I-80, Illinois is really a whole different fucking place.
Let me tell you something. I was driving to Kentucky not too long ago, and it was late at night. Like, I hit the road. I don't know what time I hit the road, but it was maybe like midnight by the time I got to like the border of Illinois and Kentucky.
Oh yeah, it's
Cairo, Illinois. Yeah. And if you know anything about Cairo, you don't stop your fucking car there as a black man when the sun go down.
No.
I had to get some gas, pulled over to the gas station. Out of nowhere, it seemed like 30 cops just came out of nowhere. Like, I didn't even get out the goddamn car. I looked at them all day. I said, we don't need gas that bad. Let's keep on
push this motherfucker.
Yeah, like, fuck that shit.
No, it's different, man. There's literally, I think I've told this story on here before, but there's a town down there called Anna, A-N-N-A, and it's literally it's a well-known acronym down there for ain't no niggas allowed. And it's just, and I get down there, and you had like students and stuff down there. The people was kind of, up in arms about it, like, yo, what's the problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, we can, let's go over there. They can't stop us from going over there. Nigga, I ain't going.
Let's take calls in the 2 o'clock hour.
Yeah, in 2 o'clock hour we can open the phone lines. If y'all want to, but every time we invite y'all to call, nobody actually calls us.
They'd rather comment.
So yeah, y'all like to comment, which is fine.
Y'all better start dialing them numbers.
If y'all want to
Smash
call,
them phone numbers.
We're gonna open the phone lines for y'all at 2 o'clock. The telephone number is 872-259-7474. 872-259-7474. But yeah, it was different down there. It was a culture shock like I had never seen. I'm talking about, Confederate flags on the back of everybody pickup truck and all this extra. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
You just talked about Anna. Just recently, there was a list released about sundown towns that still exist in America, and it was a long ass list, man. I couldn't even count how many names of the towns was on there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And when you start thinking about America in general, we don't realize how rural this shit really is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's really legitimately.
You got 10 cities and a bunch
Chicago,
of farmland.
LA, New York, and the rest of this shit is country.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Super
so
rural.
all this metropolitan, liberal ass belief systems that you kind of get into this think tank of Chicago, right? Because there's a manipulation of thought here because all of the energy moves kind of one way. But when you get outside of here, man, it's some different shit. So even just speaking about my son being in Arizona, man, being here, like, you might, like, we laugh about Mount Greenwood. It's not even fucking funny, but we could laugh about it because it's such a small blip in regards to how the city energy rolls. But when you get outside the city and you start to see firsthand, like, how prevalent that energy is in other places, you get to realizing that you're really the minority. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Your thought process is in the minority.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that shit makes the world look different.
Yeah.
And it makes the concept look more dangerous. You understand what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So, yeah, I think we about to experience a whole bunch of domestic terrorism. I don't know how that's going to play out. But at the same time, I don't know if it's a duck and hide, go run, duck and hide black people, or take this as an opportunity, right? Because in a lot of ways, chaos is a ladder. You know what I mean? And you can leverage chaos to get to where you want to get to. And I think that we have to start to come to grips with the reality of, we talk all this unity concepts all the time, but we're not going to vote our way into power. And the conversation has to shift from our community because it's not a equitable conversation. It is a power conversation.
That's it. And power does not yield power to anything else except more power. Like, you got to be able to meet that and exceed that energy. And if we are unwilling to do that, then it's not going to just concede. It's just not, that's not a real thing. Nobody that's in a position of power is going to relinquish that because they got tired of being in power. Like that's not a real thing, especially when you talk about an entire collective group of people. That's not a real thing. And so this idea of, okay, let's find our peace within this bullshit, that's not real, right? That may be a comforting thought for you. That may make you feel more at peace or whatever, but it certainly ain't addressing the issues that's actually out here, right? And so, you know, if you want to bury your head in the sand and act like these things aren't happening, fine. That's certainly your choice. But that ain't gonna prevent this shit from landing on your doorstep. It's not gonna prevent this shit from happening to your child, your nephew, your niece. Like this shit is what it is. We can either address it or we can ignore it. But it's still gonna be existing regardless of which way we choose to take. I hope that we choose to address it, find the best way to be able to address it, protect ourselves, keep ourselves safe, and use it as an opportunity to bring about change, and not just be like, oh, I'm scared because their energy is so visceral. Like, I don't give a fuck, fam. Like, it can go down in here. Like, that's really my energy.
So I'm looking at the comments right now, and it just dawned on me like this is such an interesting juxtaposition, right? Because if you're from Chicago specifically, there's another element that kind of dominates the black community right now. And that other dominating element of the black community is violence amongst our youth.
Sure.
Right? And we know how that runs families into the house, or how that runs families to move, or how that runs family to change, how they live their lives. And, you know, shit, I met you in the streets going, you know, operating in opposition to that energy.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a contingency of us to kind of move through the world in that vein who says, yeah, this is a problem. But in order to get beyond this problem, we have to address this problem.
You got to walk through it.
But we got to be honest about there's a whole large contingency of us who runs and hides or runs and moves and just keeps fucking running.
It's comfortable.
And this is interesting because, and it goes back to what I said about population and the density of whiteness in America, right? You can have this issue on 75th and I don't know, Aberdeen.
Sure.
And you could move to, I don't know, 127th in Aberdeen, and that's a whole different planet.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole different planet. You can legitimately run from that energy. You can't run from the energy of whiteness because whiteness is what America is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when you've been conditioned to run into the house and hide as a response to whatever is going on outside the door, and you have nowhere else to run?
My question is, where does that come from, too? Like, because it's not what we're taught growing up. It's not what we're taught in our own neighborhoods for how to deal with such issues when it's, you know, within our own community, right? When it's with our neighbors, with our classmates, right? It ain't no, yeah, they picking on you outside. Okay, come run in the house. Hell fucking no. Take your ass back outside, have that fight, or whatever it's going to be, right? Now, some parents may say, okay, well, I'm going to go talk to their parents. That's fine. Some parents is going to be like, yo, go outside and fight. You're not finna run in this house all day. They're gonna keep you in the house all summer because they picking on you? Fuck no. So we didn't learn that growing up. So how does that then become our response to being attacked or oppressed? Because when you grow up, that's not how you're taught to deal with these issues. Nobody tells you,
that's not how you was taught.
Just run home every day.
That's not how you was taught.
Okay,
be clear. We're not a monolith. There's a whole bunch of people who rely on running. There's a whole bunch of people who rely on capitulating. There's a whole bunch of people who rely on, you know, matriculating into the same energy, right? How you think gangs are so fucking successful, right? Most of them niggas is cowards, right? Yeah. I don't want to get my ass beat,
so I got to join up with the niggas who
fold in.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's not normal.
Yeah, I feel you. I guess it's
Matter
hard.
Of fact, it's much more normal in opposition in the other way.
Run.
Because that's the American energy, right? Think about America in general. I've been watching the Fargo a whole bunch. Like I really like the Fargo show.
Shout out Chris Rock.
I gotta watch it.
The opening of the show starts off in this restaurant. It's like this restaurant is like the hub of the gangsters, right? But all the gangsters represent a certain kind of ethnic culture that came to America at a different time.
The blacks, the Italians.
The Italians.
Yeah.
Then the Italians meet the Irish, and the Irish meet the blacks. They're just going on and on. But all
and
of it
swap offspring.
They just swapping positions, right?
But they literally swap their son, their youngest son. And shit.
But they're swapping positions in America as well, right?
Yeah.
So the Irish had this problem at first. They begin to matriculate into American culture, and now they don't need this criminal shit because they're leveraging America because they've assimilated.
Yeah.
Irish, same thing. did this criminal shit, then they leverage America because they were assimilated. Then the blacks come and they're doing this criminal shit, and one of the statements, and the seasons isn't over, of course, but one of the statements is the Irishman was like, look, I could do all this gangster shit and still be accepted as a citizen. You ain't gonna never be accepted. So it's like, where do you go from here, right? And if the conversation is about power, running and hiding, and this goes back to the nuance of what's happening today, man law versus universal law.
Sure.
Right? Universal law, and this is not just the problem of violence, this is just any problem in your life. Like what we learn to do is run and hide from our issues. Right, but the reality of it is that you have to grow through. In order to grow through that issue, you got to run through it.
You gotta face it.
You got to run. Through it. It just is what it is.
You know what I'm saying? You get courage from your fears right after you go through it. Right, that's the old T.I. line. Like you got to go right through that thing, and that's just like, I guess because like you said, like that's how I was raised. That's how I was brought up. That's how I learned to survive my environment. To me, it's hard for me to reconcile doing it another way. We talked a couple weeks ago. We just went down a story of old war stories in Chicago, and I gave a couple of examples of me not being willing to back down to these type of situations. Fuck that. Yeah, I know I'm way on the west side of it, or I know exactly where I'm at. I know who hood this is, but don't tell me to turn my head around. Fuck you. We're gonna fight about it, and I'm coming back here tomorrow too because I gotta come here, right? Or I'm coming out the fucking barbecue spot, y'all. That's how I am, and so it's hard for me to be like, okay, but these white people, I'm going to respond differently to that. Because I think therein lies the difference between how we respond to this shit in our community versus how we respond to this shit on a grand scale when you talk about the racial and social constructs of America. It's different. Motherfuckers, like the way we respond to a bad police shooting or any other acts of racism is completely different from the way we respond to dude around the corner shot your cousin. He shoot your cousin. We over there today, right? Police, let's rally and kumbaya about this motherfucker. Why? Why is that response so different?
So Adrian Anderson said something I think is interesting. She said, I've never had to fight for anything. I'm not going out looking for shit. But if I'm against the wall, I'll fight. And the reason I read this particular comment is because I think we all have different understandings of what it means to be against the wall. Right? I think we're against the wall. We've been against the wall. We've forever been against the wall. Right? And I think that goes back to that conversation around identity too, in my opinion. Right, because for Adrian to say that is obviously a difference in understanding that I have that she has. My whole life has been against the wall. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna shit on my father's legacy, but my father was kind of known in the city of Chicago as a independent businessman and photographer. But this is my father, so I know the truth of my father.
Right.
Photography didn't make no fucking money.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Right. Genius of a man, brilliant man. Right. But I had a goddamn grow station in my goddamn basement all my life. It was pounds of reefer in my refrigerator the entirety of my life because my father was the weed man to all these upper echelon bougie Negroes who were scared to get weed from the weed man. Right? And that weed man money supplemented a lot of the goddamn bills in my household.
Yeah.
You know, this man is legitimately a Chicago history maker. And I remember winters without heat. You understand what I'm saying? So miss me, we ain't up against the wall. It's and I'm not saying it's directly to Adrian. I'm saying it's like, how do we understand or how do we create the understanding of what is up against the wall? So what is our identity? What are we willing to deal with and what are we not willing to deal with? So when you start looking at the prison population or when you start to look at the influence of Joe Biden, that shit is not happenstance. It's easy to push anybody into this maze when you're strangling their ass out of resources.
Sure.
My whole community has been up against the wall since we got here, right? And now the wall is closing in on your ass, and we still like, well, I don't know if I'm up against the wall yet because I got running water and I can shit in the house instead of outside.
Right.
We up against the wall.
Yeah, it's different. I think that, you talking big picture, constructs of this nation up against the wall. And I'm thinking that Adrian is thinking more so small picture, like in a given instant. Like they back me into a literal corner, then I'll have a physical fight, right? But to your point, we are absolutely up against the wall. And if we don't come out swinging like a motherfucker, we finna get our ass knocked out. Did you see that uppercut that dude hit Tank? Oh my God. Let's find that video if we can. I know that has nothing to do with the conversation.
Hey, that was a beautiful punch, though.
Dropped that motherfucker.
I'm a big fight fan. That was a beautiful punch.
That was as flush an uppercut as I can remember seeing. A left hand uppercut. Dude threw them two straight rights. He was like, all right, next time you put that right out here, I'm coming under it and I'm gonna put you to sleep. That boy was asleep before he hit the ground. This is I Say What I Said. His name is
Just like 2 o'clock break.
My name is Herb Howard. Yeah, we're gonna open up the phone lines for y'all. 259-7474. 872-259-7474. As always, your input is valued. It is welcome. It is appreciated. Give us a call if you want to. We'll be right back after this.
No.
WIFTBPN.
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
Your voice will be heard.
Your vote is precious, almost sacred. It is the most powerful non-violent tool we have to create a more perfect union.
Change will happen.
And so all men of goodwill will go to the polls on November 3rd. And I hope we will have a great day in our nation so that when we wake up on the 4th of November, we will know that America has made the right decision.
Mark your calendars for What's in It for the Black People Media special election night coverage. This is the nation's only culturally specific digital platform that respects the black community's diverse viewpoints. We're here for you. The only place to stay on top of 2020 election night coverage is on the Maze Jackson page on Facebook and Maze Jackson on YouTube. It all starts Tuesday night at 7.
You know who to vote for. I'm just asking you to vote.
Chicago Famous with Mike Love and Diz.
The destined legend himself, Leon Rogers.
Yeah.
What's going on, Playboy?
Man, listen, honored to be here with radio legends, man. Two brothers I looked up for and patted my success.
You walked away from your day job and you went straight in the
Man, brother, first time somebody called me to do the gig, they was like, hey, I got my grandmama's 85-year-old birthday party. She's turning 85. She has a brain tumor. I mean, now she's not going to be able to hear because she's in a coma, but she'll be laying in the room and we just want the good vibes. Well, what is it? $75. We need you to do an hour. I'm there because of the passion. I wanted to do the comedy. So I quit. But when you quit that job, and the job I had was decent. My father, every young black man should have a dad or a father figure in his life. Yes. When I say he went off on me.
My son works.
When I told him I quit to do comedy, my mom, mamas is always like, well, that's good, baby. You spread your wings. Realizing what God wants you to do.
Right.
My father like, you got to be the dumbest son of a bitch in the world. I can't believe you came from my ball sack. $65,000 a year. Me and your mama combined only make 80. You dumb mother. I mean, going off. Like me and my pops actually kind of fell out.
Old school black fathers, old school mindset. They came up working. They know how hard it is.
Hands knuckles black. Hands look like he worked at the steel mill, like he was dipping them in the lava. So he pissed. My hands manicured.
He's super cool and he know kung fu.
I'm clean. I work on computers.
Drives a $5,000 car and wears a $100 suit.
Right.
He like, I'm out here getting lung poisoning from inhaling all these steel mill fumes and touching people's mail. Look at my hands. I can't even pick up a fork and knife. Your mama got to cut my food for me. And you want to quit to do some damn comedy. He hell.
Chicago Famous, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
A new political party in Illinois? Could it be happening? Tune in on Tuesday for in-depth election coverage. I will be covering the Willie Wilson Party. Tune in to What's in It for the Black People for the blackest, most in-depth election coverage that you gon' find. Coverage starts at 7 p.m.
WIFTBPN.
Live from What's in It for the Black Media Studio. You're listening to I Said What I Said.
Wait, what did you say?
I said you're listening to I Said What I Said.
I just said that. I know you just said that. That's what I just said. That's what I'm saying to you. Exactly what he just said.
With Herb Howard and Toussaint Werner.
That's about one of the nicest things you ever said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
And we are back live from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. This is I Said What I Said. It is intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest. My name is Herb Howard. His name is Toussaint Werner. Thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of the conversation. We are fully aware that you could literally be doing anything else, but y'all chose to be a part of this conversation, and we appreciate that. Thank y'all so very, very much. If you haven't had an opportunity to do so, please take a quick moment to share the conversation by clicking on that little arrow in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Smash that share button. Shout out to Zeno, man. Cheating is hilarious, man. I rock with that dude. Also, if you feel so inclined, you can contribute to the show by clicking on the little gold stars in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That is also an option for you. Toussaint Warner, Minnesota? Did you ask about where that thing was?
What's that now? Yeah. The sister Shannon said her neighborhood is surrounded by white folks and Somalis, and I was like, "Where are you living?" And she said Minnesota, which is interesting because Minnesota is kind of like a hub for Somali immigrants. Which is another interesting conversation in regards to.
It's also a hub for dudes from Chicago going to get white women.
But it's also interesting in regards to like access.
Iowa too, for sure.
Access that American-born descendants of slaves have versus immigrant communities that are leveraging the black card. You think about George Floyd dying in Minnesota, and then you think about the access that Somalis have in Minnesota, and the shit gets real interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why the ADOS conversation is necessary. It's important to be able to identify who we are, right? And because you try to talk about lumping people into all these groups, well, you can lump them all in if you want. The experience isn't the same. The treatment isn't the same. The opportunities are not the same. And so I think it's very, very important that we define that and define it for ourselves. We don't need nobody else to tell us this shit. Like American descendants of slavery. Boom. Like that's what it is. And so I think that, it's important to be able to define that for ourselves. It is also important for y'all to call because Toussaint want to hear from y'all. 872-259-7474. 872-259-7474 if you all want to be a part of the conversation that way. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section as well. Shout out to Darius Turner. Shout out to my brother. Appreciate you tuning in, bro.
To that Minnesota comment, we're not gonna get deep into this, but we don't talk about this. We talk about AOC and Omar Ilhan and all those, and how black people support them 100%. But when you start to get into understanding the breakdown of Minnesota and how resources are being distributed to that Somali community, and that's who Omar Ilhan kind of represents. Omar represents.
Right.
And it starts to get very interesting when you start to understand the plight of American-born descendants of slaves. Shit gets very, very interesting, man. And again, that's part of that understanding of identity, part of understanding why we got to start. It even goes back to where that wall is, right? So a lot of our poverty gets masked in the diaspora of blackness. So you hear the data, like people in our community talk about $100,000 jobs like they readily available, like we really have them.
Right.
When you really know the real numbers, that's not our experience.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And when you start to look at how wealth is calcifying, you start to realize that it's almost impossible to not be up against the wall as an American descendant of slavery. You know what I mean? So therein lies that high level trickery and illusion that America keeps creating that keeps us kind of delusion on whether or not we are up against the wall or not. You know what I mean? When you get to the real raw data, the real raw numbers, it's no question. It's no question. Every one of us is up against the goddamn wall.
You should really just be able to step outside your door. You can look around and see the shit, right? Just look around. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can see it. You can feel it. And that is why when we talk about some of these senseless acts of violence or whatever that we see, you got a whole community of people just constantly walking around on edge. Everybody's pissed off. Everybody's angry. Everybody's frustrated. It is a highly flammable situation just waiting for that spark with anybody. And so that could be somebody cut you off in traffic. That could be somebody got in front of you at the grocery store. That could be somebody bumped into you. That could be somebody looked at you the wrong way. Any of these things could potentially send a person over the edge when you have been backed up against this wall for so long and you can't seem to find your way out of it, right? That's like, you walking around in a constant state of frustration and anger, and sometimes that manifests itself in many ways that are not good.
Salim talks a lot about it. He says it in a specific way, in a particular way, but it's something about you cannot have a stabilized community when there's a level of scarcity. I don't know how he words it, but it's real, right? You can't get to this true loving human experience when your whole environment is wrapped into this scarcity, because what that creates is a community of predators, right? But what's interesting about our community of predators is that we prey amongst each other, but draw a line of distinction against the purveyors of our greatest oppression.
That's what I'm saying. That's the part I don't get. That's what I was trying to get to before that break. Like, I don't understand that part. I don't understand how we can meet certain energies in our own community with a given response, but then meet even greater oppression with this tame, timid, docile response. I don't understand how both of those things can come from the same group of people. I really don't understand it. Like, it's hard. It's really, really hard for me to reconcile that in my mind because I see it play out differently when
it bothers me. It's not hard for me to reconcile in my mind, though.
Okay.
And I say that because I realize that our entire education, the entire curriculums that we endure are based in understanding of whiteness.
Sure.
Right? Are based in
Sure.
upholding this white supremacist narrative. So in order to get beyond that narrative, it's just like anything else I just said, like, in order to overcome or in order to grow, you got to grow through, right? Don't nobody want to be fat, but don't nobody want to work the fuck out.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's my only problem.
That's my only problem. I don't want to have no discipline around eating.
Right.
But that mentality is the same mentality that we approach all of life. And that's the American mentality.
Yes.
I want this, but I don't want to do the work to have this.
Instant
I
gratification.
want a good relationship, but I don't want to deal with my own insufficient
insecurities and all, yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to deal with that shit. I want the kind of body I want, but I don't want to have discipline around food.
No.
Right? I want a better president, but I don't want to understand politics. You know what I mean? I want a good job, but I don't want a skill set to get to the good job. I want to start a business, but who's gonna tell me, who's gonna teach me this, or who's gonna give me what I need to get there instead of how do I go get it? That's the American mentality. Right? And because of that, it creates all these other ills. It's just even to my hip. Like, I talk that shit, but if I don't deal with what's going on with my hip, some other shit is going to fall down.
Oh, yeah, because you overcompensating.
You're overcompensating. You got, like, my godfather once told me.
Is that what we see play out in our
Pain is
community?
your friend. You got to embrace the pain.
I think pain is one of the most brilliant things God ever did. I'll get back to that in a second, but I think you just came up with the answer to the question I was talking about why we respond to ourselves differently than we do to our oppressors. And you just said it. What did you just say? Damn it.
Compensates.
Yeah, overcompensation. Exactly, right. Is that what's happening here? Right. We can't. I don't know how to respond to this oppressive shit from my oppressor. Right. I can't respond to them that way. I can't lash out at them that way. But I'll beat your ass. I'll fuck you up, and I'm gonna overcompensate.
But we don't even see them as our oppressor because we won't. The reason we lash out on each other because it's easy. You can see the malfunction in the little boy walking down the street with the pistol hanging out his back pocket. You can see the malfunction in the little girl who's giving a bite to every boy in the neighborhood. It's easy to blame them for their failures. It takes work and information to understand how these shits are being presented to you, how you are inside of a maze. And I made that analogy when I was talking to the sister Coco about even relationships the other day. If a mouse is in a maze, in order to understand something different beyond that world, he has to get beyond the maze. Right? We live in the fog of the maze and never seek beyond. And the only way you can get beyond is you got to expose yourself to different shit. Right? And however that happens, whether it be through travel, whether it be through reading, whether it be through just fucking paying attention. Right? But when you start to get to
having an original thought,
when you start to get to the raw data, you start to see shit like most black people never travel more than 8 miles from their home. Like in a lifetime. Like that's like if you grew up on 95th Street, you might not ever seen downtown.
I grew up on 67th Street with a whole bunch of dudes that didn't see downtown.
Never seen downtown.
And I live on Lakeshore Drive. You can be downtown in 5
10
minutes from
right? But think about the
it?
differences between those two experiences, between the east side of Michigan Avenue. Those are a world of different experiences.
Completely different.
Right? But you have to have the wherewithal to say, hey, I want to know what the fuck is going on downtown.
And that's what it used to be. Because, I mean, I got to go through that to get to high school and shit. But it was like, yo, y'all want to go down? Like, go downtown for what? Ain't shit down there for me. Like, just to go see it. Just to go see the world moving that way will open your mind to different things other than the shit we see on 71st and 67th Street. Like, it's just different. But you're right. But, you talked about this idea of being an entrepreneur. A lot of people are like, yeah, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start my own business. But there's a lot of shit that goes into it. Do you really want – okay, you want to do that. That's cool. You want to put in an 18-hour day, though? Because nobody sees that part of it. Nobody sees that fucking part of it. Everybody love Esco. Esco has be here from 5 a.m. to fucking 7 p.m. Nobody, like, who the fuck is doing that?
Nobody wants to do that, right? I agree, but that's America, right? Now everybody else gets the benefit of engaging in America except for us. So we have the same mentality without the same opportunity. You know what I mean? And that's based in largely because we don't have that identity. right? So even when you start thinking about all the other groups, even the Hispanics, the Hispanic group, because they come in, they up against the same oppression, or the Irish, they come in, they up against the same oppression.
Yeah, but we have cultural capital.
We have cultural capital, right? So we build with the concept of us.
Yeah, I don't know how Mexico sounds like, smells like, looks like, right? I was here when I was a toddler, but I feel a connection to it because of my language, because of the food.
Yep. And we don't have that.
Right.
Yeah.
But that anchoring is what builds that community.
Absolutely.
Our anchoring is anchored in the idea of America. And the idea of America is not about community.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? It's not about
and we don't have access to whatever it actually is about.
So at the end of the day, we are the most American of all Americans, though. We ain't rooted in shit. And that's kind of what America is. It's like, it's that
fucking mud
flopping ass sign to be blowing in the wind in front of the goddamn tax place. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're going to latch on to whatever's moving in the moment. You know what I mean? And think about us, G. With every new generation comes a new music cycle. And with every new music cycle, we attach a whole new culture to that music cycle. Right? But then 20 years later, black people don't know shit about the blues.
Right.
20 years later than that, black people don't know shit about jazz.
Right.
This is shit we created.
Right.
Institutions that change the world. Right? Now that's that nature versus nurture shit, right? At our essence, scientifically, we are the closest thing to God on this planet. And I mean even closer than the African. And this is some Tucson shit, right? But when you start thinking about the most progressive energies or the most powerful energies on this planet, you got the two most powerful energies, and the two most powerful energies are love and hate. And you don't really get us without that mixture of those two most dominant cultures.
Right.
The white man and the black man.
Right.
The top and the bottom.
Right.
And the top and the bottom combined over the years through slavery, through rape, through whatever you want to call it. And that middle ground is birthed up out of them. So if we are the sum total of all that comes before us, then I got both of those frequencies flowing through my veins. That frequency of that Caucasoid mountain man,
Absolutely.
hate, and that frequency of the African of love.
Absolutely.
Right? And whichever one I tap into is going to be the dominant. You know what I mean? But I have access to both of them.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I have access to both of them. So if I want to build, I'm going to be the greatest builder you've ever seen. If I want to destroy, I'm going to be the greatest destroyer you've ever seen.
Got to take a break. When we come back, I want to jump back into the analogy that you were making about pain, right? I think that pain, physical pain in the body, is one of the most brilliant things that the Creator ever did, right? Like right up there with like water and black women, right? Like pain is dope as hell, and it is the body's way of letting you know that something is wrong. And I think that when you run from that, or when you try to mask that by over-medicating or whatever else it may be, all you're doing is hiding the problem. You are not addressing it at all, and ultimately it's going to do you more harm than good. And we're doing that same thing socially as a community when we act like these shits that's happening around here, these racial issues, that they're not real. And we try to find a way, how can I bury my head in the sand and not deal with this pain? No, I'm glad it's here. I'm glad it's here because it's letting you know that there is a problem and you need to do something about it. This is I Said What I Said. Tucson Warner, Herb Howard. We'll be right back after this.
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
Chicago Famous, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
You ever have one of those moments in Comic View that was just something you were like, wow, I can't believe that just unfolded like that?
Deion Cole will tell you, when he did his first Def Jam, he said he only had 15 minutes of material, but it was so impactful that they booked him, and now he's on the Def Jam tour with the 15 minutes, and he did 7 of them already on Def Jam. So now you got to create build an act. A new production company came in, and they decided, no, if they come out here and they bomb, show it, and put crickets.
Oh yeah,
they started putting little crickets and sound effects, and that didn't work. They would overdo it too. This was funny too. This is another behind the scenes comedy. Those laugh when you see people buckling over and laughing. That might not even be your audience.
They edited that from another.
Dude, you'll look and see this lady at all the episodes. You're like, she must be a paid audience member. How is that lady laughing at everybody's show? I used to do a joke. Like one time, I saw me laughing at me on Comedy. I'm like, how did I get in the audience on my own special? What are they doing?
Oh man. David Williams.
Those are the days, man.
Man, thank you for stopping by Chicago Famous.
Your voice will be heard.
Your vote is precious, almost sacred. It is the most powerful non-violent tool we have to create a more perfect union.
Change will happen.
And so all men of goodwill will go to the polls on November 3rd. And I hope we will have a great day in our nation so that when we wake up on the 4th of November, we will know that America has made the right decision.
Mark your calendars for What's in It for the Black People Media special election night coverage. This is the nation's only culturally specific digital platform that respects the Black community's diverse viewpoints. We're here for you. The only place to stay on top of 2020 election night coverage is on the Maze Jackson page on Facebook and Maze Jackson on YouTube. It all starts Tuesday night at 7.
You know who to vote for. I'm just asking you to vote.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing Black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
Joining Chicago Famous
Tony Scott. Was there still that pushback against comedians becoming radio personalities, or was it accepted around that time?
In Chicago, we was used to having some funny on the radio in the morning, so.
I make you laugh. I'm here to fucking amuse you.
Man, I remember one time I was at a Bulls game, and I'm at the little concession stand. This dude in front of me, this little OG dude turned around like, yeah, you that cat, you that dude. that replaced Dale. We don't like that shit.
Word?
Why are you here? I'm like, I'm just trying to buy a hot dog, sir. I'm just trying to buy a hot dog. And then what make it so bad, when Sam left and I got the job, I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm getting ready to do afternoons. She's like, oh, yeah, baby, yeah. I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, I'm replacing Sam. So she's like, hold on. Wait, you replacing Sam Silk? Where's Sam going? I'm like, my mama was upset.
Right, your mama.
Right. I'm like, Mama, did you just hear that let me replace Sam Silk? And she was like, okay. Where's Sam going? But yeah, so I think that was the point where I really realized that, I had a chance of actually making a career.
Chicago Famous, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
WIFTBPM.
Spit something, Esco. Devontae, what up, though? We are back. We are live from the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios. This is I Said What I Said. Herb Howard, Tucson, Warner here with you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. Thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of the conversation. We appreciate you. It means a lot to us. Thank y'all so very, very much. The phone lines are open. We're going to close them in a minute. 872-259-7474. 872-259-7474 if you'd like to join the conversation that way. Of course, if you'd like to join the conversation in the comments, you are more than welcome to do that as well. There seems to be some conversation going on.
Man, stop commenting, start calling, man. Stop being punks.
Why you gotta call our people punks?
Because that's punks.
Because they don't want to call your ass.
Yeah, call, man.
They leave in their comments.
Voice your opinion. Not type your opinion.
Type in their opinion.
This thing moves fast. We can't read all this stuff. We want to explore these conversations with the rest of the audience. Call in.
That'd be the thing. It's hard for me to keep up as the comments roll through so fast. That's really the only thing. Anyhow, pain, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think it's so dope, like how the body works in terms of pain. Like, it literally is your communication system to let you know there's something wrong in your knee.
It's an alarm,
right? It's an alarm, right? Mm-hmm. There's something wrong down here, and you know you could take medicine for it. You got football players all the time, shoulder pop out of place, so they pop it back in and whatever it is, and then they shoot it up so you don't feel it no more. You ain't fixed that shit. He's out there playing with a separated shoulder. Like, it just is what it is. Just because he don't feel it don't mean nothing. That just means his body can't communicate to him that it's fucked up. And some people prefer that. Mm-hmm. Some people prefer that. The body is so dope that if the pain becomes too much, you'll just go to sleep. Like, we can't withstand this. It's too much. Go to sleep. I'll wake you up when it don't hurt so bad no more. Right? That's why that's dude caught that uppercut in his in his face. He was asleep before he hit the ground. It was too much shock to the body. The body was like, oh, I don't know what just happened. We can't take it. Go to sleep. Right? We'll wake you up later. And I think that in a lot of ways, we do the same thing when we talk about addressing these issues. We want to numb the pain. That's not addressing the issue. You can numb the pain all you want to. Right? If that's what you choose to do, you can numb the pain all you fucking want. When the numbing wears off, the issue is still going to be right there. And we haven't found a way to legitimately address this issue of racism in this country in any real way that has been sustainable over the long haul. And I think now we've gotten to a place where we just want to find our comfort within it. And I think that's a very, very dangerous way to go about addressing this thing.
But I think that's why we can't, right? I think that's why we can't.
Sarah wants to talk to you.
I think that's why we can't find the answer. Let's talk to Sarah first, and I'll get into why that answer.
Cool. Sarah, thanks for the call. What is on your mind?
Hi, how y'all doing today?
We are excellent. How are you?
Sarah, what up, though?
Calling in to tell y'all, you know, Tucson, you really be hitting the nail on the head as far as
Well, that's because I'm a genius, Sarah. That's because I'm just playing with you.
No, but you be hitting the nail on the head as far as, like, I feel like the only thing Black people really can do at this point in 2020 in America is focus on themselves. But at the same time, I feel like the Black people who do focus on themselves, we get called coons for self-preserving to a certain extent, when the whole time it's like, why am I finna go out here and go cause a ruckus for people who ain't finna go do the same? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I feel like you're damned if you do care about yourself. You're damned if you do care about the community. You're damned if you're in the middle. I just like in this place in 2020 where we're at, it's just kind of hard to like make a move. I'm not saying there ain't no moves to be made, but I'm saying it's hard to make one because everybody's not collectively on the same page.
Sure. Mm-hmm. I feel you on that. Thank you so much for the call, Sarah. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you calling, Sarah.
Thank you.
I'm going to respond to that in this manner. And this is a conversation that I had a long time ago with you. Mm-hmm. It's a young brother from 79th Street who used to roll with us, who used to always get in trouble, ended up getting shot up a few times, ended up going to the joint.
Yeah.
And they was filming a documentary on what we were doing on 79th Street one time. And I don't even remember the question, but my answer was, if I got to raise 1 million of these kind of cats so that my children will have a future, then that's just what the fuck it's going to be.
Yep.
right? Yep. And I get where Sarah's coming from because this shit is lonely and daunting.
Oh my God.
Because
you get burnt out.
You're right. There are not a lot of us who are engaged, who want to know, who are interested. So I can have conversations with my friends and I start talking some black shit and you can see them tuning the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I don't want to hear this shit right now. You know what I mean? But you could talk about the goddamn Bears or the Bulls for 35,000 hours.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But this shit is just very necessary to your existence. I ain't really
trying to hear that.
in that shit. Right? But that's also part of the conditioning. That's part of the rearing. That's why we have the Bears and the Bulls. You understand what I'm saying?
Distractions.
Distract your ass from what's happening
shit.
over here. You know what I mean? Watch this over here while I steal all the goddamn money out the safe over here. Watch my right hand while I do all this dirty shit with my left hand. Right? But this is not new strategy, right? In Rome, when they had the Colosseum with the warriors fighting the motherfucking lions and tigers and bears and shit, it was the same shit as the bears and lions and tigers.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's the
Vikings.
exact same Vikings,
Yep.
same shit.
Yep.
Right? But we also got to come to the understanding that it's a collective idea, but it does not take a collective movement. Like, we don't really grasp how powerful 10 people moving in the same direction really are.
Hey, Ready Rock, welcome,
Right?
bro.
10 people moving in the same direction is some dangerous shit. When you think about what's in it for the black people, the conglomerate of everybody involved, it might be 10 of us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, when you start doing the numbers of how many people we're reaching, it's hundreds and thousands of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these are just ideas.
Yeah.
And those ideas permeate.
Yeah.
And those ideas, as those ideas permeate and take shape, actions come out of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So 10 people moving in the right direction with the right energy, it can change the fucking world.
Because it's based in real shit. And so that everybody that tunes in, they feel the fucking same way. And so all that energy starts to, you know, combine and multiply, and you can't, next thing you know, you got this big ball of energy and this huge movement going on, right? But it takes work, it takes commitment, it takes sacrifice, and you got to be willing to be burnt out. I was talking about how much Sonya's here. May's be here all the fucking time. You'll catch that motherfucker out there in the lounge area taking a fucking 30-second cat nap on the couch because his ass be here all fucking day. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the shit that goes into it that motherfuckers don't see and motherfuckers are not willing to commit to. And it's gonna take that. And the burnout is real when you talk about doing this community work. Like, the burnout is very, very real. You get very, very frustrated on both ends. Like, why am I running myself crazy if motherfuckers don't even give a fuck, right? But the alternative is what? Our certain extinction and annihilation. And so that's what really keeps me going. Because the alternative is we can't not do the shit. Yeah. We just can't. It just is what it is.
And whatever's going on outside your door is eventually coming in your door.
Point blank, period.
You got to acknowledge that. And if we're here, if our whole mission here is to make a better world for the next generation, then we have a responsibility to do whatever that entails.
We must.
You know what I mean?
We must.
And for me, being black in America in this moment in time, it entails me, one, correcting the miseducation of brothers and sisters before and after me, right? And addressing this white supremacist system simultaneously. Right, because we've come at the top of the goddamn coffee mug, right? So the cream has been filled in this shit, and it's so diluted at this point that this shit is just run amok, right? But because we're here, we got to deal with here.
We must.
You know what I mean?
We must.
So whatever that, like, I'm sympathetic in a lot of ways. There's a lot of shit that people spew out here to get a lot of attention that I just don't necessarily rock with.
Yeah, fuck
right? But at some levels, I bite my fucking tongue and roll because I just respect the fact that they rocking, right? Just the fact that you out here in the energy. You know what I mean? Just because you out here in the energy, but then there's a backside to that too. Like, even when you start thinking about like Black Lives Matter, like, I think that organization is a piece of shit organization.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
But therein lies, that's how powerful the illusion is. Because they've been funded and because they can market and because they can pump and pump and pump, they become the umbrella organization to represent this generation, and their design, their idea, the manifestation of what they're talking about is by its very nature faulty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just go to their website. Read their mission statement.
It's faulty.
Yeah.
But again, because we won't do the work, like I said, we won't go to the gym and exercise to lose that weight. We won't do the work. We want to go to the website to see what they fucking represent.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But it's easy to say BLM. It's easy to say Black Lives Matter.
Right.
And in a lot of ways, that shit is walking us to a gas chamber.
No, that's
we got to
real.
do some work.
That's
you know
real.
what I mean? We have to do some work.
You got to, proper preparation prevents poor performance. Nobody wants to prepare, though, right? Everybody want to perform, though. Like, nah, you don't get to perform without preparing. Like, you got to go fucking prepare for this shit. You got, like we say a lot of shit that people would say is, I don't know, incendiary. I don't know how they would describe it, right? But we aren't just spewing shit out of our mouths. Like these are things that we've talked about, we've read, we've discussed, we've put a lot of thought. Like I don't have any desire or intention to just encourage my people to go out in the street and get fucked up. Zero desire for that, right? I'm faced with two options here, as I see it. Find a way to quietly assimilate into this racist culture, or find a way to fucking change it. And there ain't many ways you can go about changing something like that.
And assimilation ain't an option for you.
It's not.
Assimilation ain't an option for you.
I'm not even welcome.
And that's why I say that it's always a level of nuance, right? Even going back to the Fargo example, where the Italians or the Irish come and they say we can fold in. Well, the black man can't fold in.
No.
And part of that not being able to fold in is you go back to that universal law again, right? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, man, when you start looking at the very nature of what blackness is, it gives us the opportunity to reproduce at levels that anybody, if you lay down with me, your baby gonna look like me.
Right.
Right? It's just we're genetically superior. It just is what it is.
They learned that early on.
And then the only reason we're superior is because we're closer to the origin of the coffee.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? That's it. It ain't even rocket science, right? So
ain't that deep.
If I'm at the top of that dilution, the diluting chemical,
sure,
but I'm powerful,
sure,
I'm gonna keep your pure ass away, right? If I could sell some huff ass cocaine on the street, the raw come in, it's gonna take away my business. I don't never want the raw to come in.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do everything I gotta do to keep the raw out.
That was Frank Lucas.
Same concept.
That was Frank Lucas.
I got the raw.
You fucked up.
If I got the raw, you can't compete with me.
You fucked up the whole machine.
You fuck up the machine.
The whole Italian mob, that whole structured organization was like, yo, we gotta do something about this dude.
This shit ain't stepped on.
He's bringing some 100% pure shit over here, right? Yeah. He went around us, and that's a problem. People want you to find your way within the construct as they designed it. You going outside of that or going around it in any way, shape, or form fucks up their plan. And they are not with it. They are not with it. And I understand it. I understand it. If I was them, I wouldn't be with it either. Right? Like, they learned very, very early on that if they mix with us, eventually they'll be extinct. So what do we got to do to get the power and then do anything to maintain it?
Anything, right?
By any means necessary, maintain that shit.
So all this shit, when you start to understand it from that perspective, none of this shit looks weird or new or strange.
No.
Right? When you start to see the
It
commercials.
makes perfect sense.
When you see the commercials with the mixed families every day now, that shit ain't happenstance.
No.
Right? That's here, black sister. Let me open this door for you to fold into this assimilating culture.
Mm-hmm.
Black boys, turn gay, because we don't have nothing here for you no
more. Right.
Go like another boy.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And we could make whatever fight we want to fight. We could come out with all this liberal ideology shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's the real map. Like to the Black Lives Matter shit.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to their website, it talks about transgender black Americans, black males, right?
Mm-hmm.
That represents less than 1% of our population.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 1% of it's like a 0.8% of our population,
mm-hmm.
right? But they get a mention on their website.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They make all their money off the backs of black male death, and they don't have one mention on black males on their website.
No.
You understand what I'm saying?
Which
but that shit gets to play out because nobody's going to investigate.
No.
Nobody's going to really do the work.
No.
This shit sounds cool. Everybody else rocking with it. We rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's how America works. So when they start promoting certain ideas, somebody had posted a picture the other day of some guy dealing with some kind of mental health issue, and it was just, a random Facebook post. But the dude was like, and like Auburn Gresham, man, he was wearing like a woman's jacket and a woman's skirt or something.
Okay.
And they just took a picture like, man, this guy, something's wrong. If somebody knows who he is or could send some help, he's out here in women's clothes. And I responded, man, 99% of these young dudes is out here in women's clothes. That's the fucking norm. Right? We've normalized it.
Yeah.
And they keep normalizing these dysfunctional behaviors to keep us away from our fucking destiny.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And by the very nature of you being the origin or the true, I don't want to say ruler, but original design,
mm-hmm.
you got to deal with facing what's stopping you from reaching your destiny.
You must. There is no other way to do this shit. Like, you got to go through it. You have to go through it. It just is what it is. There's no other way. You have to go through the shit. Like, there's no other way, bro. When I first ruptured my Achilles this year, I was shitty as hell. Like, pissed off. Can't walk, can't move. I'd never been injured before, never been able to not get up and move. And I'm stuck in this fucking bed. And like there was nothing to do but go through the shit. You just got to go through it. One day at a time, go through it. Your foot will get stronger. You'll go through the physical therapy. You'll do the rehab. You have to just fucking go through it. You can't just sit in this fucking bed and be frustrated and pissed off and depressed all day. That's not a real thing, right? You can do that if you want, but what result is that going to bring about, right? And so you just have to be able to, hey, Ready Rock, you such a gangster, G. Listen, I appreciate the facts, but I'm just talking about the movie. Like I ain't saying Frank Lucas the greatest gangster of all time. She's like, don't be quoting that dude. He ain't. Shout out to Pee Wee Kirkland. My bad, Ready Rock. But you know, like, I don't really understand it, bro. When you see stuff like what's the Lil Nas X, right? The country singer, black dude, what the Old Town Road. He was Nicki Minaj for Halloween, like full out Nicki Minaj, hair, breast, ass, pink jumpsuit, like Nicki Minaj. And as I kept seeing this shit like go around my timeline, I'm like, yeah, this ain't really okay. Like this ain't really okay. And you know, again, do whatever you want, bro. Love whoever you want, sleep with whoever you want. But when you have the imaging going around, that shit is there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. And I don't think it's nothing cool about 5 and 6 year old boys thinking that I can look like Nicki Minaj. Like, so there's an issue with that for me.
There's a sister named Shahrazad Ali, right? And she's an author, and one of the books she wrote was like The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, right? And this book was very, very controversial because it was some interesting takes on how black men should be dealing and engaging black women, right? But outside of that book, and I think that book is a worthy read, regardless of how you feel about it, I think it's a worthy read. I think it's a very interesting perspective. But I saw her in an interview one time, and she talked about how we embrace insanity in our community, right?
Sure.
And how that insanity kind of permeates to becoming truth, right? And she was referencing in regards to like homosexuality, right? And then she leveraged the homosexuality conversation and using an analogy about crime and criminality, right? But when she started the homosexuality conversation, she was like, you know, let's say you're a homosexual, and let's say your choice is to be with whatever the same sex. She was speaking specifically about men, so let's say your choice is to be with other men.
Sure.
She was like, that's an action. That's an action. It's not a behavior, it's an action.
Okay.
Right? I'm going to have sex with this other man, right? She said, but why, when you decide to become that person to have sex with another man, why do you must then wear women's clothing? Why do you must then change the inflection in your voice?
That's what I asked.
Why do you must then change the tone? She was like, that's not a action anymore. That's a psychosis at this point. You're confused about, psychologically confused at this point, right? And you know, I know there's backlash. There's other people that's come out since that time, of course, to say that's not true. They say it's 136 fucking genders on the spectrum. All that other shit that I don't necessarily agree with.
Okay.
I know there's a whole world of people who do agree with that crazy shit.
136 genders?
It's something ridiculous. It's something like 136 genders.
Let's be very, very clear.
That's insanity.
There are two.
But there's philosophies out here that ride with this crazy.
Yeah, I know that's not your stance. We know we know that.
But then she used an analogy about crime and criminality in our community as well, right? She was like, you know, and it goes back to that Coop record I told about. You put a mirror in your pocket and you practice looking hard. Right? We don't associate homosexuality and that same criminality energy as one and the same, but in a lot of ways they are one and the same.
That's what they find in their value. That's what they find in their security.
That's what we find in our value at. You know what I mean? And all these places where we find an identity at are all because we lived in this kind of warped perception of our real proper polarities. You know what I mean? Back to the Amos Wilson statement, like, in order to be male, you got to master the environment in which you've inherited. You know what I mean? So if we've inherited a war-torn, oppositional environment where violence is necessary,
we got to become the greatest
poverty
warriors.
is abundant, then you got to rise to the occasion.
You must.
You know what I mean?
You must.
You got to rise to the occasion, or you never obtain manhood. Right? So when I hear the sister say, brothers ain't this, brothers ain't that, I absolutely identify with that. I agree. But it's not in the context of how you're viewing. It's in the context of we haven't mastered this environment as of yet. You know what I mean? Now, it's a trajectory, and we've moved several ranks into the environment. Yeah. But as we're trying, there's a contingency of us that's saying, fuck this shit, burn it to the ground, and let's create a new, which is a one level of mastery. Then there's this let's assimilate group, right? Yep. Some just want to assimilate, period.
Yep.
Others might want to assimilate to take over.
Yep.
Right? But it's that dichotomy, and because we don't have that rooting or anchoring into
a singular identity.
A singular identity, it's like everybody becomes oppositional. You know what I mean? King and Malcolm wasn't necessarily oppositional.
No.
Because there was one goal.
Right.
20, 80, 60 years later, it's different goals, right? The goal becomes, I want bread. You know what I mean? And as if you want bread and you break down the essence of what bread looks like in America, then what you really want is to be next to white folks. Because they got all the goddamn bread. Bread by itself has no inherent value. Right? But we don't find value in humanity.
No. It's only in the money because this is capitalism. This is America, right? And so, like you said earlier about being taught and indoctrinated into American society, that is the goal. That is the goal, right? How can I get this job so I can get this house, drive this car, do this, do that, like take my couple trips a year, and that's life. Fuck, no, it's not. That's not life. You were not put here to pay bills and die. That's not life, G. Like,
yeah, so they said they want to know what the other 134 genders are. I can't tell you. I don't know what they are. That's why they say it's on the spectrum.
And
I don't know what they are.
I'm much more like liberal about this thing than you are. And so I'm like, okay, cool. You wanna be with men, cool, whatever, right? Even if you feel like you want to change your gender, but this idea that's 136 of them, no, it's not. It's 2, right? You're born one or the other. If you decide at some point you're gonna switch that thing, whole nother conversation, whatever. But it's still just 2. Like it's still just, it ain't this spectrum of like what? A spectrum of gender is 2. You have a vagina or you have a penis. It ain't really that difficult, right? It's like you XX or you XY. That's it. You ain't nothing else. It's 2 letters they use for this shit. XX, XY. That's it.
I think, man, there's this constant. The journey over the destination is a constant that plays out in my life, and I'm sure it plays out in the lives of everybody over and over again. Like, what's more valuable, the journey or the destination? What's more valuable, the journey or the destination?
It's got to be the journey, man.
The journey is more valuable. Right, but you have to be anchored into the journey to reap the benefits of it, right? And again, we have a very microwavable kind of culture, right? And nobody values the journey. We all value the destination, right? Never giving any credence to the radio waves that permeate through your food as you microwave them, and this is going to eventually kill you because we only value the destination. And the destination of value that we've placed at the top of that totem pole is it's freedom, really. Yeah. It's really freedom, right? But we view freedom through the lens of buying material shit or through the lens of traveling here and there. But freedom is really, in a lot of ways, man, and this is my two's personal interpretation, it's the freedom to think and explore beyond the confines of what's happening now. It's what's happening now. But I don't think nobody's even interested of thinking beyond the confines. I just think we want the best that the confines has to offer.
What did that say, Esco? I'm sorry, I missed it.
About 110 live viewers.
Yeah, is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody tuning in on YouTube. We appreciate. See, Esco, you've been rocking with us all day. And you had to go
on that Maze garbage
go back
trash.
to Maze shit. Listen, we got to take our last break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the conversation for today and set the stage for Chicago famous Mike Love and Diz coming up with you from 3 till 6 p.m. This is I Said What I Said. Tucson Warner, Herb Howard here for about another 10 minutes or so. We'll be right back after this.
WIFTVPM. Mark your calendar for What's in It for the Black People Media Election Night Special on Tuesday, November 3rd.
2 old white men. Tighten it out.
A new political party in Illinois? Could it be happening?
We'll be starting at 7 p.m. and we'll be going till midnight. So I'll try not to fall asleep.
What are you going to be doing on Tuesday, November 3rd? Tune in to What's in It for the Black People for the blackest, most in-depth election coverage that you gonna find.
Are you ready for some authentic, delicious street tacos on the south side of Chicago? Stop by for the launch of Sissy's Taco Bar pop-up at 312 East 75th Street on Thursdays and Fridays, starting November 5th from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Experience their jerk chicken, sriracha shrimp, and blackened salmon tacos. And don't forget to ask about their Rome walking taco, Sissy street corn, and children's meal that comes with a special price. Visit sissytacobar.com for more information.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
WIFTBPN.
I don't know how you be so charged up all day, Sonya. Like all day long, you are a ball of energy. I don't know how you do that.
That's why I don't do drugs. I never tried cocaine, coke, none of that. Imagine.
Just let me stop, man. I'm about to say something.
Or Red's cartel.
I gotta go.
Listen, too. Next time we talk to our people, man. Next time we get with y'all, there's at least the possibility that we'll have a new president, and at the very least, the current president will be confirmed. Yeah, next time we get with our Wiz family, the election, at least the voting for it, will be over. I don't think that by the time we get in here on Wednesday afternoon that we'll actually know who won the election. I think that shit gonna drag the fuck out, especially if it's close, or especially if Biden wins. They gonna drag that shit out till fucking February. But you know, there's the potential. So, what are you expecting to? I know you're planning for voting down ballot, which I am in agreement with, and I'm going to do the same. What are you expecting from this election, just in general? Because me personally, I think DT gonna win.
I think he is too.
I think 45 will be back.
Though, like, I don't have any expectations, man.
Yeah.
I think it would be foolish to expect anything. Like, even in regards to like outcomes, like I'm saying that I think 45 is gonna win, but we live in some different shit, G.
It's different.
Like, the rules don't apply.
No, Hillary had 3 million more votes than that motherfucker.
But see, we're talking about the rules don't apply. We're talking about that now,
right?
But the rules probably ain't applied in the last
400
6 elections. You know, they ain't never applied. But even the rules that they created are being shifted and changed.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. But even that part, right? You talk about the Electoral College. That's wild as hell, right? You talk about one man, one vote, and everybody in the country can fucking vote. But then y'all still come with a system to where if 3 million more people vote for this candidate, the other one can still win. That's like y'all put in the cheat from the start. Like y'all put in the cheat button from go.
Man, again, you know, I see the homie Kang said, nah, he's out of there. I want us to be very clear and conscious that we live in the information bubble, G. I don't trust none of this shit. Let me tell you something. These are some of the predictions I've been right on in the last couple of years. I was right that George Zimmerman wasn't going to jail. I made that shit a statement way before he even went to trial. I knew he wasn't going to jail, right? I knew the killers of Mike Brown wasn't going to jail, right? I knew they was going to lock up the boy who killed
Jason Van Dyke.
I made all those predictions right off the rip, right? And it just was a feeling, right? And it was a feeling based on my understanding of the world. The only reason Jason Van Dyke did a little bit of time he did is because he is in Black Mecca. And it's not only Black Mecca, but it's Black Mecca controlled by Black thought processes, even though we don't run shit.
Right.
Even though we don't run shit.
Be clear, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It matters here.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? The rest of this shit is just America. And for a long time, I've just accepted what America is. And I've never been operating under the illusion of what I've thought it to be. I've always been operating in the honesty of what it is, right? My father, like I said earlier, sold weed and did business, right? On the weekends, I was in Push and the mosque. I have an experience that I know isn't necessarily normal even to our community.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Much like my father, I'm able to navigate a plethora of different worlds. And because I'm in them different worlds, I don't see us there.
I think it's necessary to be able to navigate the different worlds, different
But
landscapes.
most people don't move like that, right? We're born into a silo. We stay in that silo until we die. And a lot of our opinions are shaped by those silos. When you get to see the plethora of existence, you start to get varying different opinions because them silos change and the energies in them silos are very different, right? You could go to the den of thieves and some shit is different, right?
Sure.
And then you can go to the top of the food chain and the energy's different. Right, and in most cases, because I'm kind of, and this might be just because I'm an artist, I pay attention in the way that I don't think a lot of people do. Right, but the den of thieves is much more admirable than the goddamn top of the food chain.
Sure.
The top of the food chain is rooted in some dysfunction.
Yes.
But all of us look at the top of the food chain as if it's the goddamn the judicial system.
Sure.
Like these are the judges.
Sure.
These are who we got. You know
Sure.
what I'm saying? Who we got to impress.
Sure.
These are the dirtiest motherfuckers you could imagine.
Behind every great fortune is a great crime.
They man, it's extreme criminals, man.
Right. But you look at, I don't know, the 94 crime bill, right? You lock up a whole bunch of people for small crimes. Meanwhile, every great fortune behind it is a great crime, right? In this fucking country.
But even again, like we was just having a conversation with Salim and his partner when he left out of there. And the partner made an analogy like one of them has a hatchet and one of them just uses curse words.
Right. And you asked him a very great
who
question.
Who the fuck has the hatchet?
Which one of these two has the hatchet?
Who do you
and
think
which
has
one
the hatchet?
is
And why
cursing?
have we made that distinction?
Right. How have you made that distinction? Right. Because we have this conversation, and then people are like, well, okay, neither one of them is good for us. But Trump is this, and Biden is that, and so he made the point that one of them is cursing at you, and the other one is swinging the hatchet at you. And he was like, well, which one is swinging the hatchet? Crickets.
I'm gonna tell you what.
I know which one he thinks is swinging the hatchet.
I know. Kane said that Trump is out of there or whatever. But I'm gonna be real with you, man. There's I think it's what's the poll? The Trafalgar poll. The Trafalgar poll is the poll that's predicted like the last 3 or 4 elections, like national elections and a lot of other local elections. They've been the most correct out of all of the polls. That polling site,
what are they saying?
Has Trump at 276 electoral votes already, which means he's going to win, right? Now, when you start looking at all these other polls, you have to start doing the math because, and I'm not saying the Trafalgar poll doesn't have this either, but all polls are kind of backed by XYZ party, backed by
they have an
XYZ person interest. They always are based in agendas. You know what I mean? And all I'm saying is the Trafalgar, who's been right on about, like, who could have? I predicted Trump was gonna win. That's another prediction I made, but nobody would believe that shit.
Yeah, not only did I predict it,
I know you voted for him. You crazy, but I just predicted it was gonna happen. I ain't that fucking crazy. But my point is, this polling group predicted that shit when everybody else was laughing at this shit, like, get this clown out of here. You know what I mean? And right now they have him at 276 delegates.
Right.
I think he's gonna win.
I do too. And Ready Rock, she said, I want the Dems to win so I control black people daily. Right? Just so you could be like, see, told y'all, shit ain't gonna change for y'all motherfuckers just because y'all put Joe Biden in office. Like, the idea to me that the circumstances for black people are going to shift so dramatically if Joe Biden becomes the president, that is...
Yeah, reparations.
It's fucking hilarious to me. It is absolutely hilarious to me. And, whatever. Like, fuck both of them. When I'm going to win, we'll see who that is. But next time we talk to y'all, hopefully that decision will have been made by the United States of America. We got to get up out of here. Go ahead.
Man, there's 2 minutes left, man. But regardless of who wins, man, our goals have to be rooted in our uplift, right? And neither of these parties are speaking in a manner that's has any interest in our uplift.
I agree.
Right? We've condemned brothers to go and to talk to these brothers who are talking on our behalf for our uplift.
Right.
Right? So one of the things that's different about this election cycle really has nothing to do with this election cycle. The thing that's most different about this election cycle is that America is becoming digital in a way that we can't slow the growth of progression of technology. And with that growth of projection of technology, the economy shifts. And as that economy shifts, you don't need a labor force. And if you don't need a labor force, then as a slave, I don't even want, I want to say slave, but definitely as a service class, community or a service class, what the fuck is our value?
You have none anymore. Listen, make sure you get out there and do y'all civic duty to vote, whichever side you choose, your decision. But make sure you go out there and vote if you have not done so already. Coming up next, Chicago famous Mike Love and Diz here with you from 3 till 6 p.m. for Sonia Escobar and for my esteemed co-host, the one and only Mr. Toussaint Warner. My name is Herb Howard. We will see y'all back here Wednesday at 1 p.m. Until then, man, y'all be good to each other. Peace.
Salam alaikum.